Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 6, 2016 Selectmen's meeting. 6:30, we're going to go into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with union personnel, to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with union personnel, police grievance, approval of 7/26/16 executive session minutes. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Move to go into executive session.
Second that.
Motion made, second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Mark?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark, yes. Forgot.
Yes.
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 Yes. Welcome back, everybody. A little past 7 o'clock. Just came out of executive session. 7 o'clock, we'll have citizen input. 7:05, Pam Tanisoff, Julie Filbert, Foxborough Cultural Council. Discussion vote on Julie Filbert becoming a member of the Foxborough Cultural Council expiring 9/6/2019. 7:15, the Mandarin Chef public hearing continuation. Discussion vote on new alcohol license. 7:25, Big Night Venues, DBA, the Scorpion Bar and Mexican Cantina, public hearing. Discussion vote on common, I can't pronounce that word. I always butcher it. We'll call it a common vic license and entertainment license and review of final bar menu. 7:35, Roger Hill, update on downtown sewer project. 7:45, Bill Keegan, discussion vote, new alcohol license, amended language for Route 1 node. 7:55, Foxborough Mandarin Inc., public hearing, discussion vote on alteration of premise. 8:05, Bill Keegan, discussion regarding special town meeting. 8:15, Selectmen's update. 8:25, Bill Keegan, Town Manager update. 8:35, Mary Beth Bernard, Assistant Town Manager update. Mary Beth, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is anybody here for citizens input? 7:05, Pam Tanisoff and Julie Filbert, Foxborough Cultural Council. Welcome.
Thank you. So do we say something now?
Well, just introduce
Oh, sure.
this one.
So I recommend Julie Filibert for membership in the Foxborough Cultural Council. She's a visual artist. She works as an artist, and she's very passionate about the arts. So in the past, she's designed banners and posters for nonprofits, organized holiday craft fairs, and because she's a visual artist, she's uniquely qualified to connect with local artisans who can offer workshops in various media. And for those reasons, we're interested in inviting her to become a member of our organization.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I think a recommendation from Pam goes a long way. You've been
Thanks, Jim.
very immersed in the community for a long time and doing some great things, so.
Thank you.
So the board recalled the last time this was before you, that a candidate was not available for that. She was actually traveling that time, so I had a panicked phone call and said, okay, what's this all about, right? The issue was the board asked that we bring the candidate forward so that you could all meet the candidate and then ask any questions. So if you have any questions, now's your opportunity. Okay.
Sorry, I butchered your last name.
That's all right.
If there's no questions.
So obviously you volunteered because you know about what the group does, but any ideas coming into it? I mean, I looked at your resume and your skills, but any ideas of what you want to do and add?
Oh, gosh, put on the spot. One of the things I thought would be, from the survey, we got a lot of feedback saying that the town would like to have some artist space available for artists. I know that's one of the goals of the group, but my thought personally, just sitting in on one of the first meetings, was just that the funding is not a lot of money, and trying to think of other creative ways to encourage the arts that maybe is more of a bartering system or not relying solely on money, but like a sharing of, we're enjoying a nice sharing community right now and time period. So that maybe we would have ways that people can offer, making costumes for one person, and then the person they make costumes for would offer a beekeeping workshop, and there would be this, back and forth idea, that sort of thing. So mostly just ideas on, hearing what's going on. A lot of good things are happening right now, but just taking it in and coming up with different twists on how to get the arts to be stronger in Foxborough.
And creative ways to work without a lot of money.
And creative ways to work without a lot of money.
Which is not a lot, right?
It's about $5,000
Yeah.
per year.
That's pretty standard, right, for most communities?
It's standard for our community. I couldn't speak to
Right.
other communities,
I don't know if it's significantly larger. I know that's been cut back
Mm-hmm.
at times.
which
Is
is
that-
why I like Julie's creative idea
Yeah.
about bartering
Just curious,
services.
Is that survey something that you could share with us?
Did
Absolutely.
we bring it
Yeah.
with you?
Like, if you could
You don't
email
have
it
to-
to
Sure,
us.
yeah,
absolutely.
That would be
You don't
great.
have to do it
I'd just be
tonight,
curious,
so.
just from discussions like with economic development and things like that, just for some fun ways to jumpstart downtown.
The
Definitely.
results of the survey, that's what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So some primary areas of interest that were consistent were funding programs for children, supporting programs in schools, and also what Julie mentioned, which was providing artist workspaces. That came up quite a lot. And we thought about talking to the Art Association about doing something in conjunction with them to make.
Or finding town buildings that are not being used right now that could be either visual arts or performing arts spaces. Just we have resources.
Great idea.
Orpheum's up for sale. if you'd
I
like.
know. I just made a note of that.
We'll use our $5,000.
One of the
Exactly.
things, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, that there were, in my previous job, that there was, we came across an empty school building, which I don't know if we have a lot of those these days, but we came across an empty school building, and we had a discussion within the community as to how we wanted to reuse that facility. And a couple folks got together, including, the Arts and Cultural Council. And they came up with an idea to create a arts and community center. And I can tell you, I was skeptical as to whether or not that would take off and be successful. I will tell you, it's one of the most successful things the town's ever done. It took off. The space was in such high demand that the reason is because there is quite a bit of interest in the arts these days. And it is an economic development driver, believe it or not. That it's a big problem in the cities because there aren't enough spaces available for artists these days, so they're moving out into the suburbs now because more space is available. And the things that just sort of mushroom as a result of that type of interest is amazing. I was absolutely shocked at how successful it became in just a relatively short period of time. So those are the kind of ideas that are worth discussing and exploring.
There were actually a lot of comments about vitalization of the downtown, and it was the kind of stuff that was beyond our reach with the
Right.
budget we're working with, so
Sure.
that's
If you
really a
could
good
share
idea,
that,
Mary
we would
Beth.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be happy to.
I think the Economic Development Committee, as a search for grants, the arts play a large role in not only applying for the grants, but actually getting grants rewarded from the state. So if you have that survey, you can get it to Mary Beth
That'd
and
be
the
great.
Economic Development Committee.
I can't help but think about downtown Natick, what it looked like, 15 years ago and what it looks like now, and the arts played a huge
Huge
part
role- huge
in the
role.
revitalization of that.
Right.
Yeah,
The Firehouse performance venue there,
yeah.
very nice, yes.
Pam?
Yes.
If I might, who took the survey? Who did you send the survey out to?
So the survey was posted on the Foxborough Cable Access website. I believe there was a posting in the paper. It was shared on Facebook, Foxborough Discussion, Foxborough Friends, It was also shared with the Foxborough Music Association Facebook page, and our response numbers were fairly low, but people gave a lot of information who did respond, and a lot of thoughts about what we could do, which was really nice.
Nice.
Great.
It's a good time to have, start the conversation.
Absolutely, and it's something we're required to do every 3 years, and it really helps to drive how we look at the grant applications coming in. And if it's okay to mention, our grant cycle is going on right now. Our application process went online with the Mass Cultural Council September 1st. I believe it goes through October 17th, and it's available on the FCC page on the town website.
Great.
We're also looking for new members, in addition to Julie Philibert, ages 18 and up, who are passionate about the arts and sciences, and they can contact us through the town website as well.
Two real quick thoughts.
Sure.
The consignment building, the consignment shop, even though it's a private business, that just opened around the Rotary at the old CVS or the old Judy's
Yeah.
Flowers. In the back of there, they have spots where local artists can go in and sell their paintings or products and,
In their
and what have
space?
you, right in the space of there. So I met with the owner, and last time I talked to him, there was still open spaces. So if there's an artist, a local artist that wants to hang their product and make a few dollars, that's good experience. In Timely, next Tuesday, we're having a groundbreaking. We got a gift or a grant from Inventus to do the Lane property enhancement, and what that's going to end up being is a indoor-outdoor classroom with a nice 25 by 60-foot deck that's overlooking Crack Rock Pond. We've spoken to seniors and the moms group, moms club, the school, for all the different groups, science and nature and conservation. But one
Yeah.
of the ideas was it would be a nice place to have classrooms for art to go out and paint and come in and have something going on there. And, you know, for all purposes, it's free. It's something that's probably 3 seasons, but that would be a great fit if you wanted to explore that.
Yes, thank you
so-
for sharing that.
That's fabulous.
Another comment that a lot of people made was, how can we publicize better what kinds of arts things we're funding too? So it'd be nice to have more communication between different nonprofits in town, with the Board of Selectmen, just to know
Yeah, we have a town
what's going
Facebook
on.
page.
Facebook
We'd
page
be
that we
happy to
can-
feature stuff on there as
Okay.
well.
If you have things you
Yeah.
want to give to Marcia in the office, she'll be happy to help get that
Okay.
up for you.
Wow, that sounds great.
Okay?
Thanks for having
I
us.
told you it was a good reason to come here.
I just had a question.
Sure.
You spoke about $5,000. Is that what you get annually from the
State.
Mass Cultural?
Yeah.
And
Right.
from that you give grants to people who apply?
Exactly.
Okay. Is
Usually organizations.
Right. And is there any possibility that your group from Foxborough can also apply for grants to other entities for more funding? Or are you
So-
limited by just what the Cultural Council gives you?
So we can do more fundraising. I don't know that we can get more money from the state. We can try to generate more money. Our thought at our last meeting was to try to generate more applications first, because we haven't actually had a tremendous number of applicants. So if we have more people interested in the money, then there would definitely be a good reason to raise more money to be able to give it out.
Okay. And it's,
Yeah.
it's good to get new blood and new enthusiasm.
Exactly.
Thank you for volunteering.
Okay, thanks very much.
Oh, we have to vote.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
vote. Move to accept Julie Philibert as a new member of the Foxborough Cultural Council, expiring on 9/6/2019.
A second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 7:25. The continuation of the Mandarin Chef public hearing, discussion vote on new alcohol license. Welcome back.
Good to see you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll try and provide you a little bit of an update of where we're at. with things. Last time we met with the applicant and council were that we would try and get a status report on on the legislation, which has made actually good progress and since the last time. The license, we don't have the license in our hand as of today, but they has made its way through the House, and it's also in third reading now in the Senate. So once it passes third reading, it then becomes engrossed in the Senate, goes back to both houses for final signature, and then goes to the governor for final approval. So this is now the summer, actually, well, the out season, if you will, or the off season of the legislature. So things, unless there are issues, will not normally get held up. They usually move fairly quickly through the House. I've not heard of any reasons to hold these licenses up. There's been no technical issues. In addition to that, we actually did have a technical issue, which we're going to take up later on tonight on the legislation, but it had nothing to do with that piece of legislation. It was on the Route 1 legislation, which it's just the technical language that the House Senate wanted in contained in the language. So that is the latest on the forefront of the legislation piece of this issue. The second thing is that I did take up the matter with the town's liquor counsel, Dave DeLuca, who's here tonight, and he provided you a summary of the findings that he has determined through his research of this particular issue. And I think it would probably be best if I deferred to Dave to speak at this point.
Sure.
and address the board with what he has found.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Members of the board, Attorney Dave DeLuca for the town of Foxborough. I had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Keegan about some of the details of this application over the course of the last week. I did take a look at some of the case law that has been developed through the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission. And one thing that's abundantly clear that I know you know is that local boards have a great deal of discretion and authority with respect to the allocation of alcohol licenses in your jurisdiction. Now, there are many different kinds of licenses that may be issued by those local authorities. This particular license that I understand is available for the town of Foxborough is rather unique in that it is a town-wide all alcohol license. And I don't think it would be surprising to anyone to know that that's an extremely valuable commodity, not just to the owner, but to the town, and that it represents an economic opportunity to the town that should be, I think, allocated in the best business-like way possible. That is to maximize the development opportunity that's associated with that license. Your job is to determine public convenience and public good with respect to the issuance of a license. That's very broad terminology. It's kind of difficult to define. I did try to provide some facts in my memo to you. In this case, you have an applicant who has a rather small premises, a rather limited type of a business model that would be, frankly, underutilizing the type of license that the town of Foxborough has to offer. And I think on those facts, it would be a defensible decision should you deny at this time the issuance of that license. I gave you several facts which could support that decision. On the other hand, if the board would be inclined to issue the license, then you may do so conditionally. That would have a condition of non-transferability of that license, so long as the applicant agrees to it, and therefore we could create an enforceable mechanism to assure the board that license would not be transferred from one owner to another or one location to another without your consent or involvement in that. Non-transferability is difficult. A couple of cases that I read would prohibit the simple non-transferability of a license without the applicant's assent. If the applicant does agree to it, then it could be a workable condition. But I want you to understand from the outset that there seems to be an imbalance here. That is, the applicant coming before you with a request for an upgrade on a present license to an all-alcohol town-wide license that may be a bit beyond the utilization that he has presently, but that it very well may be suitable at some later time, given the options that look like they're becoming available. On the other hand, if you choose to issue it, I would urge you to condition it and be sure that council agrees that we could create an enforceable condition or a contract so that if there was any default, we would seek some court action to enforce it.
Well, there's also, if I might, Dave, a third aspect to that, and that's the condition that allowing Mandarin Chef to have this license until a node license becomes available, and then surrendering the town-wide license and issuing him the node license.
A perfect option, Mr. Keegan and I did speak about. But again, I would urge that that be a condition that is agreed to, so that we could have an enforceable instrument, so that, that it would be clear going forward. I would hesitate to have you to make a decision, place a condition, have the applicant not accept or appeal that condition, and then we're, spending time at the commission trying to determine whether or not that was a reasonable condition on your part. If they will accept it, then I'll agree that we can make it enforceable.
Just a question to go back to your very first point. The node specifics are in their third reading. You got the information from Jay?
I spoke with Jay this morning, and Jay had actually spoken to Senator Timmelty about this just a couple days ago.
Okay, so providing, is there an estimate on when it's going to be final?
That I don't have at this point. We've tried to get that, but I'm anticipating we're talking a matter of days, not a matter of weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, just a couple things, and again, for the record, I was not, 2 weeks ago, I was not at that meeting, but for the record, I did.
I noticed you weren't here.
But I did watch it live, and I watched the tape, so I'm able to vote tonight. So my thought on the liquor license, and it kind of morphs into downtown, what we're trying to do with downtown. So if you look at where the town would like to see downtown is predicated on good zoning, which I think changes over time, and I think the master plan and the planning board did a great job on providing the zoning if somebody should come. Infrastructure slows molasses right now. We're trying to get sewer. We're trying to get our hands around that. We can do a better job on that, but we need infrastructure for downtown. It's going to make financial sense for people to come and invest, and people they have to have a product that people are going to buy, supply and demand. But overall, it's going to be a sense where the town is given a message that we like business, and we like, so people feel comfortable coming in. I understand, we did a master plan study, and we looked at the 4 nodes that you guys talked about last meeting, and they're almost there. At that time, there was certain licenses, types of licenses, and numbers to go in each area. The liquor committee that sold this to the selectmen and brought it to town meeting and was very successful didn't even have this license in mind at the time, because this was the unknown. I think we found out after the fact. So
the Legion license.
The Legion license, right. Yeah. So this is the license that we're talking about, all town. So the plan was going to work with or without this. because people just didn't know about it. I think overall, when we have a business that's been here since 2011, when did you take ownership?
2011.
Yeah, 2011, has done well, has not had problems, has provided a service so you wouldn't be in business right now. I think sometimes it's easier to say we want bigger and brighter and more robust businesses and lose fact that the businesses that we have here need attention too. The fire station has sat there for an incredibly painful long time, well before I got here, and I take responsibility, just like everyone on this board, that it has not moved. We've got an existing business that has done, came with the attorney, filled out the application. Is it the perfect timing? No. But we're not in the business of saying which business is better than the other, or which business we want to gamble on. I think the time is to say yes to this business. They've established themselves in the community, and it's kind of, we did it with the fire station a little bit. What a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, and other than the turkeys, there's not many birds around Foxborough right now. So I'd say jump on this. Having said that, I did read the literature that you sent this afternoon. This board, at the last discussion, basically said you're a good applicant, you're a good business, we'd love to have you, except where the timing's not right because we think it should go to somebody else because it's a more valuable license. I don't think it's in our purview to put that on the owner, because we're charged with saying, is there a supply and is there a demand for it, and does it fit? I think we've said that. And when I read what you had sent us, it was kind of apples and oranges. It was a retail business that was selling baskets, and they wanted to put liquor in it. The town said yes to a certain point, but then when the owner didn't want to transfer it, it thing fell apart. So the owner basically said, I didn't know anything about transferring. It wasn't advertised. What I'd like to do is make a motion to approve this with the consent from the applicant that you will turn this over if and when a new license comes. It may be tomorrow, it may be next month, or it may never come. But I think it's important for the board to hear it from the applicant that that is an agreement that you'll do, so we're not fighting it later. And if you're okay with that, my recommendation is to move this forward and say good luck, and good luck with the new license.
And we've thought about that. And I think I might have a creative way to address it. And I'm glad that you said that you saw last time we were on and saw that. So I don't want to repeat myself on any of that stuff because you now are up to speed. But it is important to understand, I think one of the things that was missing the last time is if I were a business owner or I wanted to start a business in Foxborough, and I knew that the license that was available to me to bring into to come into town was one of the node licenses, then I could factor that into my business plan, and I could invest and build based upon that knowledge. What we have here is we have a gentleman who's got a business in town. He's invested a lot of time, money, and effort. If he's given a liquor license, it's going to require a fairly significant amount of investment on his part to reconfigure his restaurant, have additional staff, have inventory, and the like. And the return on that investment is the hope that the business comes. As you heard, there's a precipitous drop in his eat-in business because of the lack of a liquor license. The hope is build it and they will come. However, I think pretty fairly, he believes that it'll take about 3 years to see that finally get to the point where something is built. He must move in 4.5 years. He must. He cannot stay where he is because it is not financially feasible. I've seen the lease. I know the increases that are called for in there. He can't stay there. So for him to take a node license that can't transport to somewhere else in town, he wants to stay downtown. Guarantee him there's a building and maybe we don't have a problem. But nobody can do that. So he wants to stay, wants to stay in town. This is where he's built his business. He basically knows everybody in town because they come into his restaurant. So he's got to move. He wants to invest in having a liquor license and build that aspect of the business. He would like to be bigger wherever he ends up. Obviously, it's a small footprint where he is now. But the problem is, if he just accepts a node license and he's going to move to somewhere else in town, you might say, oh, too bad there's no license, sorry, have a nice day. Now he's invested in growing his business, he's invested in having the full alcohol aspect, and he'll get nothing for it. It's not the way business works. So we're sensitive to the town's considerations. I understand you're waiting for the prettier date to come along and be able to entice them with this open license. Here's what I think that we would be in a position to do, and I think that Attorney DeLuca and I could fashion an agreement that would be enforceable and satisfy whoever would look at it, is we'll agree not to transfer the license. When the time comes that we move in town, if there's another spot, not transfer or sell the license, so the value aspect. When the time comes that he's going to look to find a new facility in town and move the business there, if there's a node license available, we'll be happy to swap this one in for the node license. It protects you. It's not just getting sold off. It protects him. He can invest in his business, stay in town. We don't want him to leave, not just because he's my client. So that's what we'd be willing to do. And I think that I'm morally certain that we can put an agreement together that would be fully enforceable, because we're willing to do that. You're not imposing that on us, and that way everyone's protected.
I don't think we wanted to impose anything. It was going to become mutual agreeable, whatever condition that we came up with. And I think the last time you were before us, I don't think anybody objected to the Mandarin getting a liquor, all alcohol license. I think we're all in agreement.
I
that he
understand that
deserves it.
totally.
The question is the value of the town-wide license and the value that it has with the town and the ability to get that back. Use it as a tool to get them up and running and get them starting through the process of the ABCC and everything else. But once those node licenses come available, to get that townwide license back. And I'm just curious, when we started down this path with asking at town meeting for additional liquor licenses, obviously Mandarin Chef was part of that. He had written letters requesting that. So it was always going to be a node-specific license that he was going to get, and lo and behold, we now have a town-wide license available. I don't understand why the difference in the business model all of a sudden, because now that there's a town-wide license.
No, it's not a difference in the business model. There's no track record as to how the node licenses are going to be treated when they're in town, how many they're going to be, how many are going to be left. And I can't have my client investing time, money, and effort to build his business around having a liquor license, knowing full well in 4.5 years it needs to be in a new location, which means 4 years from now, identifying a new location and outfitting it and investing in that facility without knowing that the basis of his business and the growth in his business could be lost if the town doesn't have a license to give him.
Council, in all due respect, every other establishment is doing that right now. If we issue a license to an establishment and they invest 5 years if they want to move, they're in the same boat. It's not guaranteed that they're going to be able to move across town.
I understand that totally.
Yeah.
But that's a change in the model for the town with the liquor licenses, with the bringing in the node licenses. And that's why I said at the outset, if I were coming here to start a business and I knew that was the case, then I can design around that. I can make that part of my business plan. My client has always known that he's got to move from there. He wants to have a bigger facility. He knows that he can generate the business, or truly believes he can generate the business with a bigger restaurant area and having a full liquor license, and wants to do that, but he can't invest in doing that. And then when he does move, 4 years from now, finding a new facility, the town says, oh, sorry, there isn't one available for you. So,
But that sort of was his business model when the node system did come forward, and he was an active part. This was long before this, that we got this all-wide liquor licenses. He had to have had a plan for the node license.
the concept of a node license was never thought of until that process started very recently with the town. When I submitted the letter on behalf of my client saying that we were interested in whenever a full liquor license becomes available, there was no such thing as a node license. We were merely waiting, as it turns out, 5 years to get an all-alcohol license. There was no node anything. That was not language that was being used at the time. That was part of the more recent effort. And while I can appreciate that, there's a level of uncertainty to it. So that's why I suggested this alternative, which I think protects everyone's interests.
Chairman, I appreciate the creativity and the sense of trying to work with the town on this, council, but the one thing that I think is worth considering here is the fact that be careful what you're asking for here, because theoretically, the board is asking you for consideration that if in fact the node license becomes available, that it be transferred to you once it becomes available, so you could proceed with your business model now. And once that becomes available, the town could transfer the license to you at that point. Both council would have to agree to that, and your client would have to agree to that as well. The challenge I see for this is that, beyond that, is that by maintaining possession of the all-alcohol license, that could actually backfire on you yourself as your client, in the sense that 4.5 years from now, if we didn't have that all-alcohol transfer license, if you will, he may not be able to go to another location because there may not be one available. So I guess the point that we tried to talk about, at least, collectively as a town, is using that as a tool to so the business continue to expand, as opposed to, stalling business at a time when you may want to expand, because you may have to expand, because, as you point out correctly, you may have to do in 4.5 years.
Oh, it definitely has to in 4.5 years. And the idea of the approach I tried to apply to it was to protect him in that eventuality, so that he's got this license. But at least then, if the town really wants it back in 4.5 years, then the town will go get him a node license in that area. This way, he's at least got this one. He's not going to sell it off. The town knows that it's not going to be sold off to the highest bidder, so that, as has happened in the past, where you start calling existing businesses, are things not going well? Would you like us to buy you so that we can get your license? I've been party to those calls. That was the way things were. I can understand the idea of not having it be that way, and we're offering to give that aspect up, so long as he knows that he can move wherever he needs to in town to ensure the future growth of his business. And then if the town plays its part and says, yeah, got you covered, you're over there, well, that's this node, and we have it for you. Then he's investing 10, 15, 20 years in one location, and the idea of having to move around is gone. Doesn't have to worry about that. Everyone gets protected in that scenario. And we're willing to enter in that, willingly and voluntarily enter into that agreement with the town. Allows his business to grow. It ensures the town's not going to lose control of its license eventually. And when he moves, which again, it's going to be 4 to 4.5 years, if you can take care of him with a license for that location that's a node license, then everybody's happy. You get your license back.
If I could just try to clarify for a moment, I think that that's a good effort, it's a creative effort to resolving things, but one thing that we cannot assure, I don't think, is that in 4 years there will be a node license available on the Route 1, on the Chestnut Green, or the Foxborough Boulevard nodes. They may be all gone by then. And if this applicant, intends to move, sure, he'll be able to go to anywhere in town, presuming it meets your board criteria. But no, the town would not get the license back. That would have to be.
I conceded that. I wanted to make that clear. This way, the town's got some skin in the game too. You want your license back, then we'll make sure that there's another license that can be had to give him to get this all town-wide license back. That way, everybody's motivated to do what has to be done.
Well, that assumes that a node license would then be available. If they are not, they're not.
Clearly.
And
Clearly.
I don't think this board has the ability to reserve license indefinitely down the.
Nor do we want to.
You know, I think that that's asking a lot, frankly.
No, I was not asking that the town reserve one. I was merely saying that we're giving up something in this scenario by not having the ability to transfer, sell it, and so forth, because we believe, my client believes in the town, wanting to be in this town, stay in this town, and grow in this town. Wants to just have the confidence that if he's investing in that fashion, that when he goes to a new location, he's got a license. Now, when he goes there, if the town can accommodate by giving a node license, assuming one exists, we'll give it back to you and you give him the node license. If not, the town can't have that back. But on the flip side, we're also agreeing that he's not going to sell it off, and that eventually, hopefully, that gets resolved. It might very well be that it's resolved very easily in 4.5 years because there's one available. But don't ask my client to take all the risk in saying that we'll give you a node license and wherever you move in town in 4.5 years, well, you might be out of business, sorry. When in fact, this is a better arrangement. The town is better prepared to take that risk, knowing that its back end is protected, because you'll still have control of that license ultimately. Everybody's got some risk, everybody's protected. I know that your sensitivity is maintaining control over that license so it's not just sold off to the highest bidder because. And we're coming up with this idea because we want you to understand that that's not my client's intention. His intention is to build his business, grow his business, and stay in town.
Well, I think, selling off the highest bidder is one concern, but maintaining flexibility within the town is another. Yeah, 4.5 years is a long time, and a lot can happen in 4.5 years. None of the members of this board might not even be here in 4.5 years.
I understand.
So,
Jim will.
Sarcasm.
so I'm not in favor of that. I am in favor of getting the Mandarin all alcohol license in some form or fashion. But if it's the townwide license, we need a mechanism to be able to get that back when a node-specific license becomes available.
But that does nothing for my client. He cannot build, he cannot invest on that model. That's why I came up with this solution, so that both sides have protection. So my client's protected as he invests and moves forward and looks forward to continuing his business in town. He's able to do that. If you just say, well, you node or nothing, then it's nothing. We'll withdraw the application. And too bad for the town of Foxborough, taking an existing business that's done very well and saying, you're not good enough, sorry, have a nice day. I don't, that's very distasteful for me.
Can I respond to that? Because I listened to this at the last meeting and I'm hearing it now.
Yeah.
You're putting words in the mouth of this board. At no point did we say you're not good enough. What we're trying to do is we respect a small business. We want you to stay. You're getting a full liquor license. We also have rights and responsibilities to the entire town, and this license is very valuable, okay? So to say that, to turn it on us saying, we don't think you're good enough, that's absolutely nothing that I heard from this board today or at the last meeting, council. What we're trying to say is you applied for a full liquor license, it's here, we're trying to find a reasonable solution for an all liquor license. 4 or 5 years from now, you may use it. 2 years from now, we may have another business that just blows everybody away, and we say, we wish we had it, and the town is saying, boy, it's underutilized. Years ago, we had the same discussion on Route 1 with the gas station. They wanted liquor license and said it was too small. It's working fine. They're not moving anywhere. It was debatable, and things go on. But if you're saying it's all or nothing, you're not going to get my vote with that. I'm trying to come up with something that's reasonable, and what you just turned against the board with that word is not all or nothing.
Well, but that's the way it sounded when we were here the last time. Is that
I disagree. I think we all were in support of getting a license. What we weren't in support of was granting the townwide license unless we had the ability to condition it, which we weren't prepared to do at the last meeting. That's why we agreed to continue it. We're in a position now where we can condition the license if agreeable to your client, and then we can move forward. If it's not agreeable to your client, and based on your statements a few minutes ago, it's either the townwide or nothing.
As I explained, my client can't invest in growing his business if in 4 years, when he has to start looking for a new location, there isn't one in a downtown node. If there's not a building available to him, what is this board going to do? And obviously, you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know. But what is he to do? Is he going to come back and say, I'm going to move just outside, or I'm going to be up at Chestnut Green? What can you do for me? And say, well, sorry.
Chestnut Green has an all-alcohol
Got one
license
available,
available today.
Yeah.
But that's today. What's going to be available in 4.5 years?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Oh, good. Sorry. I'm saying the discussion I heard at the last meeting was you needed the all-alcohol license to serve mixed drinks to compete and to be profitable because people are coming in and asking for it. At no time did you say, we need it because we need to move in 4 years or it's not
Oh,
going to
no,
work.
I absolutely said that. It was, we were
Did it?
very,
Okay,
very
all right.
upfront
Gotcha.
about that.
Okay.
That's the most critical thing. If he was staying in his current location and had the comfort of owning the building or having a more aggressive lease situation, not a problem. And yeah, maybe a problem because the facility is too small. But we came into this knowing that he has to move, and that's why the return on investment to build that business, and then in 4.5 years, the day he's got to then switch to another place, be told, well, sorry, you actually can't grow your business anymore because there isn't another license that you can have over there.
But it's the same situation with all the other businesses and restaurants. If they have to move, the application has to come back in front of us
Correct.
and we have to apply it. It'll
Oh,
be
no.
the same thing.
No question, but that's the difference between the old way of liquor licenses and the node way of liquor licenses. It really cuts to the chase there, which is why I opened this by saying if I was a new business coming into town and I knew that that's what I was coming into, I could design around it. That's not the way he came into town. That's not how he built his business.
Okay, so what you're saying is an all liquor license is not appealing whatsoever unless you can move it. And that's...
Because he
that's
has,
what
only
okay.
because we know he has to move. That's the problem.
Mr. Chairman, I think that members of the board, I think what's, the argument that this business needs a liquor license is persuasive. I mean, I think everybody here agrees on that. What's less persuasive, at least from my perspective and where I'm sitting, is that, and I don't make this decision, of course you do, is the fact that the node is not that big. It's, I don't think we should talk about the node as being, one street. It's a pretty good-sized node.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of places where that business could potentially grow in that node in the next 4 to 5 years. In the next 4 to 5 years, that whole node may look completely different, for all we know. So I think, I know I'm not as persuaded by the argument that you have to give them the all-alcohol license that can be moved anywhere in town on the basis that you're not going to have a node license at that time.
Yeah, I think we were cognizant of the fact that we just didn't want to request one license for each node. We want to have a
Correct.
little forethought.
Multiple licenses, right.
And get multiple licenses, so we don't have to keep going back
Exactly.
to the state legislature. And I hopefully, based on the research that the Economic Development Committee did, was they anticipated, 4, 5, 6 years into the future. It would be great if they're gone in a year. I mean, that would be great economic growth within the
For everybody.
community, and that's a good problem to have. And if that happens, then we have to go back to the drawing board and look at the nodes again. But I think with this license, it would not be in the town's best interest to tie that license up for 4.5 years.
Jim, can I? At the last meeting, I was a proponent of giving this establishment the license. Because, and I'll enumerate the reasons like I did last time, they've been waiting for 5 years, patiently waiting for 5 years. This will mean economic maintenance by helping an existing business. This business has been a good business for the town, been waiting for a full liquor license so they can compete with the other types of restaurants in town. And I really don't think that we should be picking winners and losers. And if this license is given to this establishment right now, immediately he can begin benefiting from it because of the increase in business, which will help his business. And after 4.5 years, when his lease is up or he has to move, it will still be acting as a tool to help a business, no matter if it's there or someplace else. I mean, this license is an economic tool. We've all said that. And why should we not give it to this entity that has proven to be a successful business that wants to stay here and wants to continue to be successful? And with this, he will be able to grow. And the big thing is, isn't that the whole idea of the idea of economic development? I mean, give him a chance. He's been waiting for 5 years.
I don't think
You know?
anybody disagrees with anything
Yeah.
that you said, other than the fact that the townwide license has a certain value to the town. It's not about picking winners or losers. It's about giving him an opportunity, and the opportunity is with all alcohol license. And before we went down this path, before town meeting, a node-specific license was what was going to be available, and he was more than amenable to taking a node-specific license. Now, because a townwide license is available, things seem to have changed. That he sees maybe a bigger opportunity, 4.5 years, but there might be an even better opportunity within the community in 2 years or 3 years. We don't know.
But how do you know? You don't know that all the node licenses will be taken up in 2 years. What you will be giving is, forget about the nodes. This license is available now.
Mhm.
It's an economic tool. He would like it. He asked for it before.
I think everybody agrees with that.
Yeah, okay,
I'll vote for
okay,
that right
but, and if we go along with Mr. Stopa's suggestion, the structure that you're saying, the town, it'll still have an economic benefit, whether it's on Mechanic Street right now or someplace else.
I think
It's gonna be I mean, like,
Mhm.
it's a tool that he can use to make his business better, and isn't that the whole
But-
idea of this?
Right.
But it's also, we're using it as a tool. We're allowing him to tomorrow
correct.
have an all-state, an all-alcohol,
all
all-pour license, so long as he agrees to a few conditions. He could start tomorrow. He doesn't have to wait for the Senate
That's right.
to vote on
Well,
vote on a no.
Yes, that's why I think he should get the license now, and with
We're giving it to him with the conditions that
conditions.
Jim mentioned.
but that's different from the conditions that Mrs.
Yes, it
Stover
is.
is
It is.
talking about.
Yes, it is.
I'm concerned that another business is going to come in 2 years from now, and there's no license, that they want to move someplace, and we say there's nothing available, and we're kicking
Well, you know
ourselves.
what? You take your chances.
And you do, and you take your chances, and just
know-
like every business that came in takes their chances with the
Right.
liquor license that they have.
Right.
I'll tell you, there's a business right now that's got their permits, and they're building a restaurant at the VFW, and they don't have a license. They would love an all liquor
Right, but
license.
they're
They
not
don't have
ready-
one.
They're not ready to apply for a
But
license yet.
they've permitted, they've put the money into the building, and there's no license
and
available.
this
And here's
gentleman-
one that's asking for an all liquor license,
Who has been waiting for an all liquor license for
Yeah.
5 years.
and we'll
Think
give
of
it to
all
them.
think of all the business that he has lost because someone would come to the restaurant and say, "Oh, I'd like this. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't serve." And then they go to another restaurant.
Understood,
Think of how
understood.
much business he has lost.
So I think we can minimize the risk from the town's perspective by conditioning that license and getting it back and transferring a node-specific license when it's available. That's how you minimize the town's risk.
Right.
I mean, we're not in the business of investing in private businesses or taking risk or having skin in the game. That's not our purview. Our purview is to create opportunities, and we're willing to offer an opportunity to the applicant as long as we can get that valuable townwide license back in exchange for a node-specific license. I think that's what we're discussing.
Jim, I have just a counsel, can that actually be done?
That can be done, but it has to be done by agreement.
Okay.
We'd have to put together essentially a contract that would be enforceable in civil courts. To just simply lay it on as a condition without their acceptance, I'd have some concern about the ABCC being able to enforce it.
But what's wrong with Mr. Stover's idea?
Because you're putting the town at risk for 4.5 years
We
of
may not get it back.
using the node-specific licenses.
If you don't get it back, it just means he's moved to a larger location and he's being more profitable.
No, he could
And you know
still
what?
have it
It
at the
has
same
worked.
location.
Right.
He could not move an inch in years from now.
I think there's two things, and I apologize if I haven't been clear about that. The reason the node-specific license doesn't do anything for my client is we know that he has to move in 4.5 years. If he has to move in 4.5 years.
But we got that.
But he can't move and take you're asking him to spend the next 4.5 years to build his business around having all alcohol or all pour license, but then take the risk that when he knows he has to move in 4.5 years to somewhere else in town, he might not be able to take that node-specific license with him.
Well, you
That's
can
the
look in
problem.
the same node that he's in now.
And what if in 4.5 years, there's no available space to move to?
I know, and these are all the great unknowns. All I was suggesting with my approach to it was that it gives him some confidence in investing and building and growing his business so that he can then plan, because it takes a little bit of time to plan growing into a bigger facility and so forth. That allows him to continue that growth process, but on the flip side, the town won't lose control, ultimate control over its all town-wide license, because he's agreeing he won't transfer it to anybody else, he won't sell it to anybody else, and when he does find a place to be in town, he'll happily exchange it, because then he's found a home, he's going to stay there. That's going to be a 10, 15, 20-year process. So he's willing to do all that. But the problem with, Mr. Feldman, with what your approach to it is that you're asking my client to bear all the risk. And that's not fair either. I think we need to be cooperative here. That's what towns and businesses have to do in order to everybody to have a happy growth pattern. And that's what my client is looking for. He wants to know, give me the okay, I'll invest. I'll invest in the small footprint that I have now and start the business plan for growing and moving to a different location. If it's in the downtown node, which is what he hopes for, terrific. It'll be easy, assuming there's a downtown node liquor license available when he moves.
He would have the license. If he has a node license for the downtown, he could take that license and move it anywhere in the downtown node.
But what if he has to move somewhere else in town in order, because there's nowhere else to be
That's a risk
downtown?
he would have to take. That's the risk he would have to take.
What I'm saying is, I think it's unreasonable to ask him to shoulder all of that risk.
That's a risk a lot of people do.
He's the businessman.
It's a business.
Right, but
It's a risk a
until
lot of
this
people
moment
do.
in time, no one had to bear that risk, because they had a license that was transferable in town. Anywhere in town the business would go. Until now.
Any of these other node specifics are gonna have the same risk, so.
I understand that, but node specific hasn't started yet, and it's painful to be on the cusp of that and on the leading.
Well, actually, it has started. It started with Chestnut Green.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. It hasn't
And
started.
there's one that is
Still available.
whatever, yeah, just sitting there doing nothing, and that's my biggest fear with issuing this one to him, that if we don't sell out the other ones in the downtown, then we're gonna be in the same Chestnut Green situation. That is my biggest fear.
Well, better to have them than not, I suspect, but.
Not if they're not usable. You know, the one at Chestnut Green is, to me, is landlocked. I mean, I can't see anything else going up there.
Say something.
My
You can
client
say
would like
that.
to address the
Sure,
board.
for right now, only thing I know, all the liquor license are owned by building's owner. That's good opportunity for the business. When the building's owners rent out the building, they can give the liquor license to whoever come in the building. But the problem is, if I own the license, I own it by myself. It's business owned. It's not a builder, the owner own it. This is a totally different situation between I and the other business owner right now. Even we have the 3 licenses more in the downtown Foxborough here from the state government, because probably the building owner, they're going to ask the license. And they rent out the building, and they can give the license to whoever coming for run a business.
No,
I don't think so.
no, you can't.
Because in Chestnut Green is involved development of I think it's the owner of the building is the
That's
owner
an older
license.
model. That's an older model, which is,
Yeah.
that was specific to that development.
Yeah, this all development company,
That's
they own
not,
it.
that's not
Yeah.
the same model we have today, though. The model today is geographic.
Yeah,
It's not
and
the same.
another
same
point is
situation.
because we've been here for more than 5 years right now, and when we just came here, we already tried to ask the all liquor license because we don't want to lose the competition. But the town just, I don't know, because we just keep waiting with our patience. Now, and before 2 or 3 months ago, I heard about the town still try to asking more license from the state government. I always thinking about this is the all town-wide liquor license. I never thinking about it's low liquor license we have been asking right now. So that's why when I have been told by somebody, I have no idea. So who told me about we only have the low liquor license? It's give me a shock because I have to totally replan it again. For my goal, I want the all town liquor license because I just want to stay in Foxborough. It's not really other kind of goal I have because I love Foxborough. That's what I'm thinking.
So there's nothing precluding you from taking a node-specific license, and then if you see another opportunity in another area of town that does not have a node-specific license, we can request an additional license. It takes some time, but we can certainly do that.
That's right.
But this is totally whole risk for me so far because Mrs. Fairman said it's 4 years is a long time. As for a business, 4 years is a very short time. I never thinking about I already been here more than 5 years already. Still something everything happened yesterday, but already for 5 more years already. 4 years is very short for the business.
If I may just follow up, Mr. Feldman, on what you just said there, that the town could always request another node license. That then dovetails very nicely into the arrangement that I suggested. You get the license back. If the town has the ability to request another license, and
Yeah, I
quite
can keep
frankly,
back-
I think it's a good idea for the town to have some skin in the game so that they have the impetus to go get another node license to give to him wherever he ends up. And again, maybe it'll be an easy fit, but if it's not, and it's an area where there isn't an existing node license, then if the town can go get one, we'll give you your all-town license back. Everybody's protected, everybody wins.
Right, but
And
you
you have a
keep-
business that's allowed to grow.
Right.
That was the idea behind the
But
idea.
the town, tying up the town-wide license for up to 4.5 years is problematic for me, and I shudder at the fact of when you say the town has skin in the game. We don't want skin in the game. Our role is to create opportunities, and that town-wide license creates opportunities. We're willing to grant your client a node-specific all-alcohol license tonight, if we can condition the town-wide license. Without conditioning that town-wide license, I don't know if I know I'm not comfortable granting that license tonight without conditions.
May I have 2 minutes with my client outside?
Sure.
Thank you. Come with me.
Slight recess.
Jeopardy clock.
Anything else you want to talk about? Any other reports you want to talk about?
Can we do that during, the public
You're in
hearings?
the middle
Well,
of
even
a
though
public hearing.
I apologize.
At any point, yeah, but
Why was the strawberry sad?
Why?
Because he found himself in a jam. Huh? Like you've ever said a good joke at this table? Work with me here, people. We get 2 minutes.
Especially a Rodney Dangerfield joke.
I know.
Nobody feels good for you.
No respect.
No respect. No respect.
That was pretty good.
Hmm?
That was pretty good.
It was pretty good. And you know what? You'll use it. You'll use it
will.
Saturday night, won't you?
Actually, low-hanging fruit, too.
Possibly.
Okay. Here's what I think we can do to move this forward. We'll agree to take the all-town license and surrender it when a node license comes available. If the town will agree that when the time comes for him to move, that if there's no node license in that area, they'll get one.
We can't guarantee that, but we can request one.
Fine, I understand. But it sounds to me like the whole concept of the node prospect is that you have that availability to do that.
Yeah. The only shortcoming I see is when you say the town agrees, we can all raise our hand, but 4 years from now, it's useless if we're not here.
But if it's in
Yeah, but we're
writing-
gonna put it in a written agreement.
So the town would be the sitting board of selectmen.
Yes.
I still have a problem with that because you're asking a selectman who may or may not even be here now to vote on something that they might not believe in.
Yeah, but that's the way things always work with boards because they switch over. You're obligating the town. It's a deal, you're just the face of the town with all due respect in this regard. Just as if we had done the other, let's just say, assume that the other deal was doable. If we have a contract with the town, it's with the town, not with 5 individuals. It has got nothing to do with you individually.
And it is subject to town meeting.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, that would be us working with an existing established business that wants to grow, so I don't think 4 years from now, anybody would have a problem with it.
What
At
I'm
least
trying to do
we
is-
can't guarantee that
Of
you would
course
get
not.
one, but.
But what I'm trying to do is, you're asking my
All you have to do is
client
agree to
to
request
agree
it.
to take the node license,
requesting
and as I
He's
thought I
requesting it.
have
That's
laid
all.
out, he's agreeing to invest a substantial amount of money, time, money, and effort in growing his business. He doesn't want to do that if he knows he's going to fall on his face, because the town's not going to be there to help him. But if we've got an agreement where we do this, and the town says that it will take all reasonable efforts to get a license if one is not otherwise available in whatever node he ends up in.
Mr. Chairman, in the interest of trying to demonstrate to this business they want to support him, council's ideas got some merit.
And it's enforceable and workable and
Right,
doable.
It's so long as those conditions apply and are agreeable, I think it would be wise to put together a memorandum of agreement, contract, if you will, that makes it clear, as I have it, that the license would not be sold or transferred, that it would be returned to the town when and if a node license becomes available imminently, and that if at some future date the applicant were to seek a new location wherein a node license were not available, the town would use reasonable efforts to secure an additional license subject to approval of town meeting.
Should we put in that agreement any kind of a time frame, like they would have to notify us a year in advance? Because this process is lengthy to apply for these. So I would just, you guys are lawyers, I'm not, but consider that in your,
We'll try to figure, I'll suggest that 6 months is probably the time period, because that's kind of the time buffer that he'll need, knowing he's going to be leaving one location to try to find, outfit, and prepare a new location. Obviously, the more time we can give the town,
yeah,
the
because
better
town
everybody
meeting
is.
wise and
But
stuff.
it's subject to
It's
town meeting
approval,
schedule.
And then the
Yeah.
legislative process.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it could be up to a year full cycle, so just keep that in mind.
So if those 3 conditions are acceptable to the applicant, then I think the town achieves what it's looking for, and that is retaining that townwide license for appropriate use going forward, once the node licenses become available.
Right.
It's a public hearing, do it.
Yeah. Okay. Before we take a vote, it is a public hearing. Anybody in the audience that has any comments?
Yes. My name's Jim Gibson.
Come up to the,
My name's Jim Gibson. I bought the Legion building, and for the interest of the town, the general license, I would like to see stay downtown. Because if it really took off and started to develop, then you'd have one more license in the downtown area. So I think that, give him a license, but it be immediately returned, but not moved. Because if there's 3 licenses, and then all of a sudden, the building comes up, or something comes up and you want something for downtown, you don't have it. He's got the ability to move it to some other place. It's not helping downtown. So I'm thinking for the town of Foxborough. And I'm not up here asking for it, you know?
But if this license is presented tonight, the town-wide license,
Yeah.
there's still, in the pipeline, 3
Oh, I know that.
node licenses.
I know that. My
Right.
interest is that I'd like to see the general license somehow stay downtown.
But that would be a discussion for a different day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just saying.
Thank you.
That's all, you know.
Thank you.
Any more comments from the audience? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing?
Second.
For the motion on this?
I don't have it drafted, but
Motion made, second, any discussion? All those in favor to close the public hearing?
Right.
So I asked council to get help. We we're gonna work on drafting a motion here because we want to make sure we get this right. So I'm gonna take a stab at this and see if this works. So the board, if this is what the board wants to do, the board would move to approve the request for an all-alcohol license. Granting of an all-alcohol license for
Townwide.
townwide license for the Mandarin Chef with the following conditions. Dave, want to read those conditions?
yeah, I had them that the applicant agrees that the license would not be transferred or sold. Number 2, that the license would be returned to the town in exchange for a node license that became available to the downtown area. And 3, that that in the event that this applicant seeks a new location at some future time, and there was a lack of a node license available, the town would use reasonable efforts to secure an additional node license for his desired location.
Do you want to include anything in there about the notification of his intent to move?
Oh, I
1
think
year, or
that's
6
good
months?
business.
I don't know that it needs to be in the motion. I think that'll end up being in our written agreement.
Fair enough.
Did you get all that, Doc?
I did.
We'll work on that. Do you have a question, Doc?
The last sentence, would use reasonable efforts to secure an additional node license for,
For the applicant.
The applicant.
You want to read that back, Deb, for what you have?
in the event that this applicant seeks a new location at some future time, and it was a lack.
No, the entire motion,
Oh. Motion by
Was gonna.
Mark Outman to approve granting request for an all-alcohol license, all-alcohol townwide license for Mandarin Chef with the following conditions. 1, applicant agrees that the license will not be transferred or sold, sorry, typo. License would be returned to the town in exchange for a node license that became available to the downtown area. In the event that this applicant seeks a new location at some future time, and there was a lack of node licenses available, the town would use reasonable efforts to secure an additional node license for the applicant.
Okay. Need a second.
So moved.
Well, is that what you understand? Is that within your
That's
understanding?
acceptable, yes,
You're a reasonable condition, those 3?
yes.
Okay.
So can we just second
I
that?
need a second.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Appreciate the cooperation.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get it right back to it.
Great. Thank you. Good work, everyone.
Is this
strawberry joke.
Bye, David.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Bye, Mark.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. We'll be in.
Good luck.
We're a little behind. Big night venues, DBA, the Scorpion Bar, and Mexican Cantina, public hearing. Discussion vote on common vic license and entertainment license and review of final bar menu.
All right. The Board of Selectmen, acting as the local licensing authority pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 138, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, September 6, 2016, beginning at 7:25 in the Foxborough High School Media Center, 120 South Street, on the application of entertainment license and common victualers license for Big Night Venues, Foxborough, LLC, doing business as the Scorpion Bar and Mexican Cantina, 253 Patriot Place, Foxborough, Mass. Manager Randy Greenstein. All interested parties are welcome to attend.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Nice to see you all again. Kristen Scanlon, counsel for the licensee, Big Night Venues Foxborough LLC. And with me this evening, seated to my right, is Ed Kane, one of the principal owners of the license establishment. I know we're here to discuss 2, potentially 3, with the CV entertainment license combo that was left outstanding at the May hearing before the board. Taking the entertainment license application first, which I think might be the road less traveled this evening. I know, and if my memory serves me correctly, and from a review of the meeting minutes from the May 31st hearing, we did briefly touch upon what was proposed for the entertainment license application, but it's my understanding that a vote wasn't ultimately taken. By way of refresher and background, what is proposed for the entertainment at the premises is a combination of what's considered to be non-live and live entertainment, including radios, television, speakers or amplifiers, as well as instrumentalists, vocalists, and dancing by patrons. The proposed schedule for that entertainment right now is karaoke on Wednesday nights. Of course, football Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays on the TVs, as well as either a DJ or acoustic sets on Fridays and Saturday nights starting after 10 p.m. With that being said, I don't know if the board has any questions pertaining to the entertainment license specifically before we get into the other item that was left open for discussion.
Is it strictly going to be DJ, or are you going to have live bands?
We're looking at the live bands. I think right now we're talking about some kind of acoustic set on Thursdays, and then DJ on Friday and Saturday. But I think the model calls for live bands, but we just haven't gotten there yet programmatically.
On the application, it has the hours from 11:30 to 2 a.m. That's the victualers license, yeah. That's what we're discussing, right?
No, we're doing the entertainment.
Oh, I'm thinking one and the same. Okay. So having said that, let me backtrack. Is there hours associated with the entertainment license?
It would be the same hours proposed for the establishment, 11:30 to 2 a.m. to include so it includes the non-live portion of the entertainment, but the plan for live entertainment is more refined.
Yeah, we were. I think in the last. And where did the summer go? Last time I was here, it was the beginning of summer. I can't believe it's over. But we're talking about after 10 o'clock, and I think there was some discussion at that time as how we would manage the front, how we manage families coming through the door, and so forth. So I think that's what we're thinking about, is kind of after 10 o'clock that we would create a whatever kind of entertainment we were going to put, whether it was DJ or bands, or although the karaoke may be a little bit earlier.
Right.
So what time would you complete the entertainment, the live entertainment?
Would we complete it?
Yeah.
I think we carry it right to the end.
At the end?
I don't know what the usual, I mean, maybe, is there a rule for when you, or is there something that you like?
That was my question. I didn't think we had
I don't
anything
remember
open
2 a.m.
to 2
Yeah.
a.m.
There isn't anything open till 2.
No, 1 a.m.
Oh, 1 a.m.
1 a.m., yeah.
You're 1 a.m., sorry.
And we are 1 a.m.
Sorry.
But so this has to be amended, hours of operation should be amended to 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
The nights of live entertainment, are you just looking at Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or are you gonna, would you have live entertainment during the other parts of the week too?
Well, I think it depends on when, what it would call for, but in general, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. That's,
I think we'd like the option if they have certain events or different parties that they'd be able to accommodate that sort of entertainment, but like Ed said, the plan is for mostly
if we did
Thursday, Friday,
we
Saturday.
do a lot of corporate events at the other places, and sometimes they want a DJ, or sometimes they want to bring in a, whatever they want, so.
Just to make the board aware, we're looking at this issue. We're not sure if this issue was just recently amended with the legislation, there were about 200 amendments made on the Municipal Reform Act. Whether this was taken out or not, but there was a special additional license for a Sunday entertainment license. But it pertained to a jukebox and to automated, as well as live entertainment. So if you did apply for entertainment on a Sunday, I think televisions are okay, because I don't think there's any that's free. But I think if it's a, we'll check on that to make sure. If there is, it's really not that big of a challenge, but we just want to make sure that
And
you're
do
licensed properly for that.
You think this is a state,
We think that
part of the
there
state
may have
legislation?
been part of the legislation that could change recently. We're going to
Okay.
verify that. But if it hasn't, it's something you can deal with, and
sure,
it's
you
really
mean
short,
it's a-
relatively short order.
an application, you mean?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
We'll confirm that for you. But it didn't appear that you were looking for that in this license request, so we just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, typically, we ask for it every day, so
Yeah.
that if there is a private event that you're hosting or running, like we do a lot of big corporate parties in Boston, Eddie the Empire, Red Lantern,
Mhm.
and in general, especially during the holidays, they want a DJ, or they want some kind of entertainment. Sometimes they fall on Sundays,
Fair enough.
and we do for sure do some on Sundays.
So we can look at that.
Yeah, of course.
It's interesting. Massachusetts is one of those strange phenomenons that has a special requirement for Sunday entertainment.
It has a special requirement for everything.
A couple of things on this license. I mean, besides the time, the hours of operation being wrong, on the second page, and this is on the common victual license, so we that, or we entertainment?
No, let's finish up the entertainment.
Right.
The entertainment license is a 7-day entertainment license. Well, that would include Sunday.
Yeah.
But there is still a separate application for an entertainment, for a license for a Sunday entertainment. It's a separate statute, believe it or not.
It's this one.
That's when jukeboxes used to be used on Sundays.
Yeah, the jukebox and the phonograph.
That's right.
Every year we say,
That's
can
why I
somebody
say
look
that
at this
I
and
think
take
the
'em off?
statute actually may have gotten amended on that.
Mr.
So
Keegan, I
it's-
think it did get amended, because I have worked in various municipalities. There's some municipalities that still abide by the Monday through Saturday entertainment license application and actually have a separate Sunday application, but I've
Right.
also worked with several cities and towns, including your own, that have the 7-day entertainment license application,
Right.
just to make it easier because it's allowed.
Yeah, that's why we're going to check on that
Okay.
for you.
All right, any more questions on the entertainment license?
Entertainment, no.
Move to accept the entertainment
Whoa,
license.
wait,
Oops,
wait,
sorry,
wait.
sorry.
Let's do the common vic, and then we gotta open up to the public.
Okay.
On the common victual one, few questions.
Sure.
First page, the hours were wrong. Second page, it says, are the premises complete? No. If no, have you obtained a site plan approval from the Board of Selectmen? Yes, we did approve that. And then it says the date, January 12th of '07.
That was provided through us via Patriot Place, which might have been from the original site plan approval for that space. But I can confirm that with them and
Okay.
make sure
Because
you
they're
have the
within-
appropriate date.
within Patriot Place.
Yeah, but
Site plan approval from the planning board is different than what we granted. We didn't look at the site, which means parking spaces and lighting and emergency vehicle, so I think that date is right.
Okay, all right. So then, leading to the next question, where it asks about a building permit. You obtained a building permit? No?
At
I
the
would
time
assume-
this was filed, sorry to interrupt you, at the
Okay.
time this was filed in May, they hadn't
They hadn't.
gotten a building approval.
Okay.
Do you know the approximate date we pulled the permit?
Did we pull the
Probably.
permit? Yeah, June.
June.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
have a building permit now.
Oh, yeah.
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 We're
Then they're-
underway.
yeah,
We
then they're
were, we,
completion.
Yeah.
I hope we're
I hope
opening
you're okay.
in the next 2 weeks, trust me.
Build the beans.
That's right.
So, just to refresh our memory.
Sure, of
when you
course.
guys came in May, this was all in our packet, and we kind of said, let's hold these for now.
Until you wanted to see what the final menu was like, because I think you
I
were still
have it.
working
I
on that
brought
now? Okay.
Okay.
We
All
said
right.
you'd come back to present that.
Right.
We'll just pass it around.
The concern we had was the actual, the drinks.
The drinks for 27?
The huge scorpion bowls.
Did you bring any samples? It's been a long evening.
After tonight, we could
Had
probably
been
use a few
allowed,
samples.
had we known beforehand.
So the dinner menu, the lunch and dinner menus in the front, we did expand it. We're very bullish, as you know, on serving a lot of food and.
Right.
And then the liquor part is on the last page, last 2 pages.
One of those scorpion bowls, how many does it serve?
It's 2 or more.
We know that that was the primary concern with the drink menu, was the shared drinks. And just to kind of start the discussion first and foremost, we've relied upon and have referred to the board's rules and regulations, specifically number 22, which states that no pitcher of any alcoholic beverage may contain more than 60 ounces and must be served to at least 2 or more persons. With that said, we're under the reasonable assumption that the word pitcher can be used synonymously with any sort of glassware or container that the alcoholic beverage is served in, and I think the board's overarching concern is the number of ounces that is contained within that glassware. With that being said, the glassware that is planned to be used for those shared drinks is 52 ounces, which we do have a picture of here, and I can provide to the board for closer review. And within that 52-ounce container, roughly half of it is filled with ice, and the other is a mixture of both alcoholic and non-alcoholic ingredients, which we would respectfully submit as well within the confines of the rules put on to alcoholic beverage license holders. And also worth noting is substantially similar and probably on the conservative side of other licensed establishments in Foxborough that serve similar drinks. We have looked into a few other places that do have scorpion bowls on the menu, other items known as dragon bowls or pitchers of beer, which is what 22, I'm assuming, originally was intended for.
But it's my understanding when we say pitcher, we mean pitcher, so that you can get more than one, glass. You fill your glass a couple of times because it's a pitcher. It's not a bowl. That was the whole concern that we had with the in other establishments.
For which is my understanding that it's for 2 or more persons, which is the same requirement that the licensee.
Multiple people would have to be served that. You could
Correct.
not serve just one person with that.
Correct.
So in other words, if somebody ordered one.
But I thought that was one of the things we were trying to discourage with the regulations. A pitcher is a pitcher. A pitcher means that I can pour Jim a drink, I can pour myself a drink, we drink it. I can pour Jim another drink, I can pour, and we don't have to keep asking the waitress for, for drinks. That's a pitcher. It's not, it would not be defined as a bowl that happens to have 50, a container of 55 ounces. A pitcher is a pitcher. So you're saying that it can be construed as being anything that can hold 55 ounces. No, a pitcher is a pitcher.
I would argue that this regulation allows even more alcohol to be served than what we're intending to serve with the proposed menu and the shared drinks that would be put in place at the licensed premises. So I do respectfully disagree with you that I don't know if you want to say
Yeah,
something.
so I guess the question is, and I don't know, because I wasn't here when this regulation was put forth by the board. I don't know, and Jim and Jenny probably the only ones that can really speak to this, was the concept of shared drinks something that the board wanted to discourage, or did they want it, what they were okay with, provided that multiple people took part in them? So, in other words, if somebody buys a Scorpion Bowl, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, they would buy a Scorpion Bowl, but they would have to have, at least 2 people would have to be drinking from it. You couldn't have 2 or more people would have to drink from it.
Correct.
So it's really no different in terms of your point, Jenny, that you're using a pitcher, you're serving multiple people. So the question is that what the board intended? I don't know that answer. I'm asking you.
It's my understanding that we were discouraging things like Scorpion Bowls.
No, I don't remember what the board intended. I mean, it was the alcohol committee that brought it to the board, so I don't know what they intended, but I think if I look at this and I see a Scorpion Bowl, if one person comes up and says, I want a Scorpion Bowl, and you serve him and he drinks it all by himself, that's not what
Yeah, of course.
is going to
that's
happen.
Not,
It's
it's
gonna
really
have 2 or 3 people with it.
It's
just
really
like
for
a
2 or
pitcher of
more.
beer. Yeah,
I
don't have a problem. And if you're saying whether it's a Scorpion Bowl or Dragon Bowl, we're doing this in town already at establishments.
At least 4 places that we know of, yeah.
At the bottom, at the end of the day, you need to meet the liquor regulations, and if this meets the liquor regulations, I mean, I appreciate you coming back, because somebody had asked you to look at the drink menu, but at the end of the day, even if we like it, if it doesn't meet the liquor regulations, you can't do it.
Of course.
Right.
So I'm assuming that this meets the liquor regulations, and you're not going to serve a Scorpion Bowl to one person and he's going to drink it all night.
Correct.
So.
And your staff is trained accordingly, I assume.
Correct. Yes.
They do serve these drinks, it's worth noting, at almost all of the establishments, or if not all of your other
We
establishments.
serve at all the other places, yeah, but
And-
and typically they're groups that get them.
Right.
They're very showy and they're good. And Randy didn't want me to say it on public television, but there's typically less alcohol, oddly, because there's a lot of ice, there's a lot of juice, and there's just not a lot of alcohol in them. But
it looks cool.
They look great, and they're great money makers for us.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
are.
at the end of the day,
Do that
the-
with a bucket of whatever that we said that Splitsville couldn't have, the bucket of booze or whatever.
Yeah,
was
but
at
it couldn't be
Splitsville.
served to more than just one person. Again, if it's served to multiple people, I think that's the question. I don't know that answer.
I thought we said, no, they couldn't do it. They had, I thought that was, they had their signature drinks. And we said, no, that you can't, we don't want those signature drinks, and they agreed to it. So from what I understood, there were no bucket of booze or whatever they were asking for. We had asked them, and they said, oh, okay, all right, we'll go along with the regulations.
Well, that was then, I wasn't here, but I mean, if you have 4 existing businesses, they're already selling Scorpion Bowls. We just gave another one, a 5th one.
Well, I'd say then they were violating the regulations of the liquor regulations.
Not if they were under the alcohol amount, total alcohol amount.
Yeah, you could argue almost that having a pitcher of beer is actually more impactful than what you're presenting.
That was
because you got all the
exactly my
alcohol.
point, yep.
Because they were actually, somebody
Because
could
you can
consume almost a pitcher of beer by themselves.
Yeah.
And
conceivably.
the way the regulation is written actually allows for 60 ounces of alcohol, not a 60-ounce container. And the container that we're proposing to use is only 52 ounces, which the liquid that would be contained in it would be roughly half of that, and the alcohol would be even less, far less, based on the recipe and the ratios that they use for alcohol, liquors, liqueurs to non-alcoholic beverage ingredients.
So the question goes to what's the board's pleasure in terms of what do you believe to be the intent there? What is it that you want to try and regulate? To regulate I think the board is in concern concern, at least I think this is what the concern is, that you don't want to make it easy for people to become too quickly inebriated by having large amounts of alcohol served at one time. But if it's being shared by multiple people, obviously that impact is significantly less.
Yeah, and for us, it does not change any of our responsibility for a proper service. You still have the same obligation regardless whether you sell a person 2 drinks, 3 drinks, 4 drinks. You still have to regulate
At the end of the
their
day,
consumption.
that's right.
Correct.
That's right.
That responsibility doesn't go away in the larger format.
I think that's a very good point, that at the end of the day, if they overserve people, they're still responsible for that.
And I kind of go back to the original presentation that you had here where you explained your business, the protocol, and the success that you've had with the very limited issues. So I'm comfortable with this on the size-wise. It's, 4 people, 4 drinks, 1 person, 1 drink, 4 people.
And we understand the regulation calls for not serving them an hour before close. We don't do shots an hour before close. We don't do a bunch of things an hour before close. So we give folks so that no one's trying to binge kind of at the end.
Okay. Any more comments from the board?
Nope.
Being this is a public hearing, is anybody from the audience have any comments? Seeing none, can we close the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Right.
Do we have to take them separately?
Should we take them separately or do them together?
You're probably best to do them separately. That'd be my advice.
And before you make the motion, these, can we vote on it
You can, as amended.
as amended?
As amended.
Move the common victuals license for the Scorpion Bar and Mexican Cantina as amended.
Amended to 1 a.m. closing.
Yeah, okay, sorry, yeah, amended to a 1 a.m. closing and, well, do we have to do the building permit?
No, that's also.
The one, that's the big one, the 1 a.m. closing.
Okay, second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept the 7-day entertainment license application for the Scorpion Bar and Mexican Cantina.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion?
Is that what Bill is going to look into, the possibility of the Sunday business?
Well, I think you can act on this license.
The 7-day license.
If they need a separate license for Sundays, we'll come back. I just want to investigate that further because, but I want to say that there are 2 separate statutes you can accept, one with a 7-day license and one with a 6-day license with a 7-day Sunday license. We may have accepted the 7-day statute here, so I want to just, you have done that here in the past, for sure. So I think you're okay to act on it the way it is, and if we need to come back and act on the Sunday license,
Sure.
it's a pretty easy
Sure.
amendment to come back.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
When's opening day?
Well, we're trying to make opening day. Come on, we'll see. They're always crunch at the end, as you guys know. So.
Is it going good?
Yeah, it's coming out great. It looks fantastic. But we, as you guys know, we added those patios in the front and the back. And it seemed to be a lot of work, and there was a lot of custom work. So it's pretty spectacular. I think it's going to be great. But there's a lot of work to go in the next 10 days or 12 days. So we'll see.
Crunch time is here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. 7:35 at 10 minutes to 9. Roger Hill, update on downtown sewer project.
We didn't bring it up. Yeah, so just have stuff. Okay, thanks.
So kind of a review of where we are now. 2 weeks ago, we engaged the services of Beta Corporation to do a preliminary design and preliminary engineering estimate for this sewer project. I kind of better stand up because it'll be easier. If you look at the map, this is South Street right here. The Common's right there. That's Market Street. That's Centennial. That's Rock Hill. And that's Granite. And the red line indicates the approximate location for where the sewer lines will be installed. The contract involves not only doing a cost estimate for this installation and leaving lateral services at every property that's there, it also includes downstream study of the capacity of the lift station down at the Diego, which may require bigger pumps. I don't know yet. He's including that in the study. And I expect to have a final number in 2 weeks. And I think that's the best we can hope for, because there's a lot of work involved in this. We're using topography to determine the extent of the service area. And we want to try to get as many of these small properties as we can, because there's many failed septic systems in that area, and some people are pumping out tight tanks right now. And this, of course, will take care of the backs of all of the places on the common, and we'll run up as far as I think I'd like to run up and take care of the auditorium and the church. It's pretty easy to get up there, and the grade's really good. So that's the extent of the project, and I hope to have the numbers in 2 weeks.
Good.
And I think then the board can take a look at means of finance.
Mr. Chairman, the members of the board, later tonight in your agenda, we're talking about special town meeting, and I've already talked with the finance director about this today, but it's entirely possible we may be able to provide funding for this project in the spring at the fall town meeting, if in fact we can come up with a plan that works.
We'll have the estimate.
So I mean, we want to jumpstart this effort. This is the way to go.
Well, I think, I don't want to short-sight ourselves when we're looking at those lift stations. Make sure if we're at capacity with what we anticipate needs to be done, I think you have to build in some future capacity as well on those lift stations.
That's what he'll do.
Question on the Granite Street piece, from Main Street down Granite to where your dots start.
You mean right here?
Yeah. Is there anything there, and why isn't it going all the way up to Main Street?
We could do that. It's just going to add to the cost, because we've only got a couple of properties up there that.
So those couple of properties aren't on town sewer now?
Not right now.
No.
And then they're residential, so the goal was to try and certainly to pick up those people who are on tight tanks, of course, but
Yeah.
if they have active septic systems at work, and then you want to try and create the capacity for the downtown development options.
We're going to drop a lateral at every place we go by, every
Right.
single lot that will get a lateral. Whether they want to hook up is going to be their decision. They need to pay to hook up.
A couple questions, Roger, from the map you're showing. There's actually a line that's in front of the fire station at the corner, and also in front of the Orpheum.
Yeah, it doesn't
You can't
have-
utilize that?
You can utilize it for the upper floor in the fire station, but the basement of the fire station is
Gravity won't get there?
Gravity won't
Okay.
get there.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
pretty shallow at that end. It flows across here.
So technically, you're working at pump stations and volumes and grades and stuff, but where is the plan coming from, and who gets to tie into it and who doesn't? In other words, where are the limits? Like someone just brought up, why not that? And you said, well, we can, but it's money. But then his neighbor might want it. And so is the board, your board actively looking at a master plan of
We
who
did
gets it
quite a
and who
while
doesn't?
ago. If you remember when we were doing the sewer service area map, the planning board asked for us to sequester 12,000 gallons for the downtown area. And we looked at areas that were logical downtown.
So what your map's showing here in red, that's the logical place?
Yeah, because we already have sewer on the other side.
Okay.
We're okay over here. And even Jack can get in if he wants to. I found a way for him to get into the sewer. But,
Well, that's my question, is so Jack wants it, and then you've got property A, B, and C,
Yeah.
and then what if D wants it? What's that mechanism to see who's special enough to
well,
get it and who
because
isn't?
we can't charge betterments, any entity that wants sewer, it fundamentally has to pay the cost of providing that sewer. You know, they have to do it for themselves. Now, some that are on here are just gonna have to buy the capacity and also pay for the hookup. And the lateral's gonna be there in front of every property that this main goes by. And I can't tell you what the total extent is right now, because we don't have, they haven't finished the topo study, so
Okay.
I don't know how far down these side streets we can get with it.
All right, so if you're saying the laterals will be there, somebody has to buy it, but I'm also hearing this may be funded for the next town meeting. Who's paying for this? I just don't want you to underestimate, this has been going on for a long time.
The only revenue that I have is rates from existing ratepayers.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I have.
This would be a general fund request.
From the people that are gonna tie into it, or
No,
somebody on the across
no.
town that is on
Infrastructure.
We're
septic?
doing this as an economic development project. for the
Opportunity.
town.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the debate that this is going to have.
Oh, understood.
Because it happens every time. Somebody on the other side of
Oh,
town,
yeah.
nobody helps them pump their septic system, install their Title V,
Understood.
but they're gonna buy into this, so there's a lot of discussion.
I'm neither an advocate nor an
Mhm.
opponent.
Oh, yeah. No, I think, and it's fair to have that conversation, but if we're gonna truly unlock the economic development potential of the downtown, you have to have this conversation.
Well,
Townwide needs to
understood,
buy
but that's what I'm
into it.
saying, don't underestimate it. If you're looking for
Oh,
town
no,
meeting,
I understand.
that discussion needs to come from either the Water and Sewer Department, or the Selectmen, or a committee that's looking at this.
I think-
But I'll be honest with you, last time that we sat as a group and we invited everyone together, it's been deathly silent since then. There's been no discussion collectively about this. So I'm hearing we can afford it, it might go to town meeting.
Well,
Who's
in
running
fair-
this?
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
fair point, and I appreciate you raising that. So I think following, once this plan is ready, because we're looking at a date sometime in November for a town meeting, so we do have a little bit of time to have a conversation amongst each other to see if people are supportive. Because quite honestly, I don't know of another way to get development to the downtown without doing something like this.
I think it starts with a plan.
Yeah.
It starts with a cost, and then we
Right.
can
You have to-
evaluate
you have
what
to
the
select an
economic,
area that you're
Yeah,
gonna serve.
exactly.
then we can come up with
And there's
a
logic to that.
strategy.
Because
a
that's
number for the
decided
economic impact.
based on the master plan.
Mhm.
So this is the logical area. Now, the question is, how far out can you go? Every step you take, it's money, and then people have to decide whether they want to spend that money or
Exactly.
not.
Years ago, when I used to live on Billings, and they brought the sewerage down 106 into Greenview Estates there, we had to tie in.
Yeah, that's a different situation and a different.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Why is this
Because the
all
town
voluntary?
voted, the town voted down twice the expansion of the Mansfield Regional Plan. And the only way it went through town meeting was the town voted to support it, providing there were no betterment charges.
So that's what it's called. A betterment means I have to tie in.
That's right.
And, okay.
But that was funded entirely by the users, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
They
So here, it's not
actually-
funded by the users,
No,
it's
this is
funded by
not
the
funded by
town.
users.
So when you're looking at grabbing an extra 2 houses, I understand economic development, but we're not developing those houses. They've got a situation that
What we're
this is
gonna
gonna
do is,
help.
we're gonna figure out how much we can serve logically.
Mhm.
And at the end of that logical service, if somebody wants to hook up, they're gonna have to pay.
If somebody wants to extend the map,
They're gonna have to pay the extra cost. of
But
doing it.
I think we're at a tipping point too, because we own all this capacity, but we have to pay debt service on it. If we're not flowing and receiving revenue for some of that capacity, anything that we generate is all going to debt service. There's no money available for future infrastructure projects regarding the sewer.
There's some, but not, it's very limited.
So I think we have to be cognizant of that, because
Yeah, it's a two-edged sword.
sooner or later, the taxpayers are gonna be on the hook for that capacity.
Well-
Because the sewer,
Be careful, it's not the taxpayers, it's the users of the sewer.
Yeah.
And if you don't have sewer, you're not paying for it. So all I'm saying is there's gonna be a lot of discussion on this
It's a tough
because
argument, because theoretically, you gotta start somewhere. And if you don't start somewhere,
You know,
you can go, you can
get a lot
build
of
and go other
studies.
places if you start somewhere. We're gonna have to make an investment somewhere to start this process. Because if you unleash the economic viability of the downtown, that provides more flow to the system, which then provides more system to the sewer
I don't know
department.
if you remember, Dave, but when we went through this whole discussion about MFN, we did it on the basis of a study of the sale of capacity. And it's the sale of the capacity that will pay for the pay for the plant expansion. You need $5.25 million to do that, and we expect to have about close to $2 million of that in the bank at the end of this year, which is 3 years before we were considering having to have it before. That's good, but now we've got to, look at other situations. So we're looking at water use right now, because water use dictates sewer, and we're looking at, solving our lost water problems in Foxborough, and that may give us additional sewer revenue too at the same time. And the old contract projects are gone. We did pick up another $28,000 from the I&I, 28,000 gallons from the I&I we did. So we're in pretty good shape in terms of quantity, but we don't have the ability to fund the infrastructure to get it into the system.
So can I ask, and this isn't a slight on anybody or any board, but who's running this show right now to get this to town meeting? Is this a town manager? Is this a selectman? We've asked to meet with the water and sewer commissioners for months, and it just, for whatever reason, nobody's talking about this collectively. So if the selectmen are gonna run with this, we gotta work a little harder. If the water and sewer is gonna run with it, they've gotta show up and talk to us.
I think it would be both.
I think what we're waiting for is the study.
Right.
So we should have some clarity within 2
I mean,
weeks.
Yeah, you gotta have a start,
Right
this is
now-
the starting
Right
point,
now,
really.
we're all looking at, we're not looking at numbers, we're looking at plans. Somebody needs to do the grind the
Calculation.
numbers, get the numbers on the table, so everybody knows what you're talking about in terms of dollars, and who's gonna pay for it. And when you get that, then you can make logical decisions about where you're gonna move with it.
So I think you're right. I think once we have the study, we need to collectively sit down and figure out who's gonna spearhead the effort.
And he promised me 2 more weeks, so.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it would be great to have both boards work together on this, because I think that sends a great message that we're both supportive. We're trying to make it work.
Yeah, and I know it's probably not the right forum to have this, but the third piece that's missing is, we don't own a lot of land. The town does not own parcels, other than the fire station and some sporadic parcel. If the business owners want sewer, and they want to collectively make the downtown a little bit better, at some point, the business owners
They have to
have to
step
get
up.
together and say, this is what we want, or, you're gonna put sewer in downtown, and it's gonna be dry because nobody wants to expand or invest. It's not sewer that's holding back a lot of development. It's the want, if somebody wanted to develop, they could figure out a way, but I don't think it's sewer that's holding people back from developing. I think it's, we had this discussion at the last group meeting, and there's a piece missing. The municipality can tax and build it, but unless the businesses want to come in and work together, it's all for naught. And this isn't a lecture, but it's like there's something missing at this table. I hate to go all the way and get sewer and then find out we're going to sit 10 years because nobody wants to invest in
No, and I
downtown.
think that missing piece is with the Economic Development Committee right now, and the MAPC grant that they're working on.
Right.
And part of that grant is, galvanizing the business owners and bringing them together for a common goal to redevelop that downtown. And this is only a piece of it,
Yeah,
a small piece, but it's an important piece.
it's an important piece.
And I think what that MAPC grant is going to focus on is really galvanizing the business community downtown. So,
We lost it after the first big EPA slug with sewer in the
Yeah.
country. Mansfield built that plant for next to nothing, because they had big federal money at that time. There was very little federal money now. And you can see it in every category you want of public works. They're not funding stuff.
Roger, just out of curiosity, could you show us where the sewer exists on the other side of the common, like around where is it near Aubuchon's?
Goes down Bird Street and down Mechanic Street to a main down here.
Rube Goldberg.
And then that
Rube Goldberg.
pumps up over Maple Street and down to Procasset and
Oh, it
down
comes
to the
back there,
railroad.
yeah. If you look
And
at
it
the
runs
line
all the way
sizes,
down the
there's no real
railroad
reason to it.
to where it crosses into Mansfield. There's a lift station down there that pumps it into the Mansfield system.
So the sewer lines are there, and it's just that right now, the businesses, if they want to expand using more, they just have to buy capacity.
Yeah, I
So
tried to talk
Yeah.
Tony into hooking up to the sewer
Yeah.
when they remodeled the Cumberland Farms,
Yeah.
but they didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but the ability to expand these businesses, if they want, they just have to pay for the increase in flow.
They have to pay for the
Yeah.
increase in flow
Flow.
and the full cost of getting it, where it needs to go. Because we know what it's gonna, we will find out what it's gonna cost to do this project. But there's other parts of the sewer system that we're responsible for, like we have to do downstream analysis to make sure that the water can get all the way to the plant. And we've already done a pretty good study of that. But, I don't know how much capacity we're gonna have to account for here, so we'll find that out.
Roger, as we're looking at that, the right side of the common, the existing businesses, Aubuchon's, Cumberland's, how many of those businesses are hooked up to existing sewer?
It doesn't show on this map, but I have it on the GPS, and I can show you where.
If you had to guesstimate, half, a
I
quarter?
think most of them are hooked up to sewer over here.
Could you get us that information?
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of goes to what Jim is saying.
Aubuchon's got sewer, Lowen's got sewer, all those places.
American
And
Legion
It's not
has
sewer
Yeah.
that's stopping the development there.
And now we have more flow to sell, so that.
Yes, I mean, they could, technically, they could expand their footprints or go up,
Yeah.
and we could still sell them the additional capacity. It's complex, but it's just dollars and cents, that's all. So I should have the answer, and I'll just flood it, let everybody look at it.
And just lastly, so this is being run by the Water and Sewer Commission's doing this study out of your budget and out of your.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm actually using, the I&I didn't cost us as much as we thought it would, so we're using a little bit of that.
Okay.
It's well worth the investment, I think.
Yeah, we gotta know. I mean, we can't start unless we have no, at least know what this is. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Barry?
Do you have a question?
Yep.
Roger. Barry Dunoff, expert reporter. So Water and Sewer Commission commissioned the study on who's conducting it though?
Beta Corporation.
The Beta Corporation?
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. That's all.
Bill, can we take the Foxborough Mandarin out of order?
Sure. Sure, your prerogative.
Foxborough Mandarin, Inc., public hearing, discussion vote on alteration of premises. You guys have been waiting patiently.
Patiently. Quiet, Peter.
All right, good evening. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Foxborough, acting as the local licensing authority pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 138, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, September 6th, 2016, at 7:55 PM in the Foxborough High School Media Center, 120 South Street, Foxborough, Mass., on an application to alter the premises of an annual all-alcoholic beverages restaurant license for Foxborough Mandarin, Inc., 369 Central Street, Foxborough, Mass. Manager Wei Chow Guan. How'd I do?
Yep.
Okay. All interested persons are invited to attend the hearing.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Peter Clark. I'm an attorney with an office at 200 Chauncey Street in Mansfield, and I represent the Foxborough Mandarin Incorporated. Since, Mark, you've already introduced him, I will just recognize him as Jerry, who everybody here in town knows. This is a interior renovation project. The property, the Foxborough Mandarin, as you well know, is located in the old Foxfield Plaza, soon to become Forbes Crossing, as part of the major renovation of that project and the addition of the Hampton Inn Hotel. The Foxborough Mandarin is staying in its existing location. It's unlike the Thai restaurant, it's not moving. So it is going to stay right in its current location next to Antonia's Deli, that is also staying put, in its current location. What is happening in terms of what this alteration of license deals with is a slight change in the bar area. There's going to be an elimination of 2 restaurant booths. And where the current bar is 2 parallel sections, and it's now going to be connected at the end, so it will be U-shaped. The bar will be U-shaped. So there are going to be 8 less restaurant seats, but 8 more bar seats. So the number of seats within the location stays the same. I believe you have plans as the existing and the proposed as part of your packets. The bathrooms are going to be renovated. The landlord at FM Partners is going to be doing a whole new storefront, full glass sidewalk to roof, glass storefront. But just in terms of the Foxborough Mandarin's responsibility, it's going to be the bar, remodeling of the bathrooms, changing, putting in carpet, not carpet, taking up carpet, putting in tile, decor, paint. So it's approximately a $30,000 budget in terms of the interior improvements that are being made. It's a pretty straightforward application, I believe. I've already spoken with the building inspector. The time frame, we're trying to coordinate it so that the restaurant is actually closed for as short of a period of time as possible. So we're trying to coordinate it with when they're doing the glass storefront. I'm being told now that it will probably be approximately March that the work is actually done. So what will happen is they will operate under their existing license, the existing plan, the existing approval, right up until the time that they close for the renovations. The renovations will be done. They should take approximately 3 weeks, is what we've been told in terms of how long we'll need to be closed for. The building inspector will come to do his new occupancy permit inspection, and the ABCC inspector, if they choose to send someone out for this, will happen, and then it will reopen under the newly altered license. Unless you have any questions for either myself or the applicant, I have nothing further for the board.
I have a question. What's going to happen with the alcohol during the 3 weeks when you're closed? How is that going to be secured?
It will be kept under lock in a locked closet in the kitchen area, supply area where it is now. Obviously, because my client has sufficient time to plan for it, the open inventory will be minimized.
Yeah.
If there's any small amounts that would probably end up being disposed of, it would really depend upon the amounts, that are there. But if the board remembers, I had appeared before you previously when there was a problem with another applicant.
That's what.
And
that's why I'm asking.
I can tell you that I have will be sharing that information with my client here, and we will certainly make sure that there's not a similar circumstance as that Route 1 situation.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? No. Anybody out in the public that has any questions? Vera? You're the last remaining soul.
That's my job. You pay more people to go to public meetings.
Okay. No more questions. Motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Thank you, members of the board.
One more.
Still have to vote on it.
Oh, that was to close the public hearing. I'm sorry.
One more step.
Move to accept the application to alter the premises of an annual all alcoholic beverage restaurant license for Foxborough Mandarin.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Night.
Now I will properly thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, Bill, discussion vote, new alcohol license, amended
Yes.
language for Route 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This only deals with this is a technical change by House Counsel to amend the language. There is no substantive change to this whatsoever. It's a requirement that when this was put forward, every so often they'll review it and kick it back to us, and say, just change these words. But I don't see any substantive change in any of this. This is for the Route 1, Route 1 node license. If this gets approved tonight, we'll send it back and it'll go right through the process again.
So the changes on this, what set this different, or set it aside from the other ones? Why changing this if it seems like it's clerical stuff relating to mass law or some of it?
I didn't look at the other ones, but it doesn't. I'm looking at this and I said, this is the sections of the statute that we refer to all the time, anyways. I'm not sure why they picked up on this one versus the other ones. So because all to be drunk on premises, that's what they're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Senate changing this?
I think it was. I believe it was the
House.
House.
There was the House. Yeah, it was the House. It was the House version.
Okay.
House 45.
Yeah, I talked to Jake, Representative Barrows today, and he just said
There's no substantive change.
it's just what they
Just
do.
moved the line.
Hmm?
They just moved the line.
Yeah, we had to tweak the other ones a little bit too.
Yeah.
We have done this before. It's more of a. It's the way they want to see the language put forward.
Make a motion?
Yeah, move to accept the changes.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Great, thank you.
Okay, Bill, discussion regarding special town meeting.
Well, we thought we would start that discussion now since it is September, that we would typically have a meeting sometime in November. We looked at dates, I think it was November 28th?
26th.
26th, for a possible date, and, which is the week after Thanksgiving this year. It wouldn't be the 26th, it would be the 28th.
Is it the
It would be the 28th, November 28th, yeah. So, that's a date we put on hold at this time, and I checked with Randy on it. He said that that works as well. He said there are several pieces of legislation items that we want to consider. I know there's several zoning changes as well, zoning issues that need to be considered, along with a few housekeeping matters that deal with changes in statutes that have come about since the last time we spoke at town meeting. We'd like to put those forward. We also did talk about the possibility of putting forward an additional license following this for the for the additional all alcohol package store license. So we want to follow up with that. I think we're going to have that conversation this month to make sure that's still in play. And so I'm putting that out there unless anybody has any problem with the date or don't see a reason why we should have them. But based on the conversation I had with Randy today, I think there are several reasons why we should have one. That really do make sense to me.
So if you're going to use this date for the town meeting, when is the drop dead date for submission of warrant articles?
I would think we'd want to get that by your next meeting. I think you want to, get that discussion going.
We need to open the warrant.
Open the warrant.
At the next meeting, and then maybe close it at the next.
Okay, so do all the departments and the boards and know that they already know this date?
No.
They don't.
Oh,
We
okay.
We wanted to have the conversation with you first before we put it out there. So I thought would be to have the conversation tonight, open your warrant on the 20th, close it at the next one, October, and hold the hearings by the end of October. Shouldn't
That
be
gives
that many.
us-
I don't think we should have, at least 3 or 4 weeks for consideration.
Okay. Yeah, if we do it, it seems to me like it's a little bit of a tight time frame, so let's keep it small.
Yeah. I don't expect this to be a big one, but
Yeah.
it does help you limit the amount of items needed for annual too.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
That was the reason why I wanted to
Kick in
put it
the
up.
discussion with the advisory committee.
Right,
to
get them going on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
very good, thank you.
Selectmen's update. I just have one item. Last Wednesday, we had, it was Neil Forrester's memorial service.
Right.
It was very well attended. It was a really nice service. It was standing room only.
Good. Thanks.
Really showed the amount of people that he touched. So,
Right.
again, thoughts and prayers are with the family. So, that's all
We do have the citation that we're gonna, his wife is off to come by and pick it up. What I'd like to do is deliver it to the house, so she wouldn't have to do that. So on behalf of the town and express our condolences directly. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there at that service, so I want to at least have the opportunity to do that directly.
Any members? have
Yeah, I just
anything?
want to let everybody know, this coming Saturday on the Common is the McGinty Family Fun Day, which I've helped Cindy McGinty have for the last 12 years. It'll be that 12th annual. It's in memory of her husband, Mike, who was killed in the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. And what it is it's a way for her to kind of give back to the community. And we raise money for scholarships for Foxborough area students that is pretty much based on community service, so that weighs heavily on it. And in the past 12 years, after this event, it will probably be approaching over $100,000 we've given to Foxborough students. So it's a fun family day, very affordable. Live entertainment, 36 Red will be playing as usual. So I just encourage everybody to attend. There might be a few surprises. So Barry, you should work this Saturday. That's it.
I think the JCs are doing they're doing a candlelight vigil.
Yeah, on
So check out their
Sunday.
website.
Yeah.
On Sunday evening.
Yep, and they've asked Cindy to speak at that as well. She'll be in town from Friday night on.
I just want to thank both chiefs for showing me behind the scenes of what a concert is like and what the fire department and the police department have to do, before, during, and after a show. I was able to, Bill and I were able to go to Kenny Chesney, and it's just remarkable what they do.
Yeah, there's
Some of you
a lot of work involved behind the scenes that people don't realize. It's quite-
absolutely
it's quite
don't realize, and the hard work that they do, and all the time and effort, and I know they're probably always learning, and they're always seeing how they can improve it, but it was truly incredible walking all around the stadium, seeing what all those guys do, and I want to thank them both for the tour, and it really opened up my eyes to even that much more what they do.
was a good opportunity to see that, particularly that show, because that's the biggest show of the year, I was very much impressed by the fact that the crowd, the way they set up the show this year was particularly good. The way they really thought this out, because they had 4 headline acts this year, which really got people into the stadium earlier, which I think accounted for why we had fewer arrests this year than ever. I think it was the lowest amount we've ever had in the years we've had it there. So it was on 125 for both nights, and that's total arrests, including TCs. So that's a really low number in comparison. Even the previous year was up over 200. So this was the medical side. I mean, we always focus on the police side, but the medical side had about the normal amount of treatments, which is in the 300 range. So while it seems like a lot in comparison, you're talking 55,000 people. It's a relatively small number, but it's still a big number for our teams to deal with in terms of the type of impact. So it's really well coordinated. I thought this year particularly it was done exceptionally well. I thought that the way they designed, and this goes to both the craft group as well as the police department and the fire department and public safety in general, the way the police department designed the area, the containment area, or the holding area, was exceptionally well done. I mean, they had our IT people there, so when people could process properly. There was a drive-in, drive-out scenario, so it was really well coordinated. And at no time did I see, in either one of those nights, did I see a huge backup in terms of impact there. So that's a credit to the police department and as well as the fire department for the work that they did. So I appreciate the services they put into that. It was a busy night on both sides. Both shows came in well ahead of the anticipated curfews, which was also appreciated as well. So it was good to see that on that end too. So it was a good opportunity for you to see that, because it was really a big show for the year.
And what was pretty neat is quite a few times throughout the show, Kenny Chesney just kept throwing out, loves coming to Foxborough.
Yeah.
And he just threw a Foxborough, it wasn't New England.
Yeah, it wasn't New England, it was specifically Foxborough this time.
Foxborough,
It's great to see that. You don't usually get that. You just get the Boston, hello Boston, and it's usually, this year it was specifically Foxborough.
Yeah, and that was great to hear, over and over again. He did it half a dozen times.
Most people don't realize he's played here 15 times, which is the most he's played anywhere in the country.
And he ends his tour
That's right,
in Foxborough.
That's right.
Not in Alabama or Tennessee or Georgia. He ended it in Foxborough. It was pretty cool.
So congratulations to NPS, the craft group, and to all of our public safety, including the state police and all their security people for the work that they did in that, because I thought it was exceptionally well done.
It was.
Does the police station still, now that they have that spot at the stadium, does the police station for this event still have the big production there?
We still, what happens is that they get processed at the site, at the stadium, and then they get transported down to the holding area down at the public safety building, and then that's where they're released to their family or held longer if in fact they're fully arrested at that situation, which in case they would have to wait till the next day before they get released. But the good news is that it wasn't a big crowd that resulted this year.
Good. Any more updates on numbers?
Bill? Just a couple of things. I was out for a good portion of last week. I was at the Maya board meeting for 3 days down on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday down the Cape. Learned a lot of good stuff about what's happening in the insurance industry on the municipal side of things. The Maya program is doing very, very well. It's despite the fact that health insurance continues to be a major concern across the country, particularly in this part of the country, and particularly the concern is the area of the Cadillac tax, which is impending on us in the year 2020. So the steps that the board of directors is taking, along with the Maya executives and staffs, are all taking is to try and cushion that impact to cities and towns who are covered by that program. And The MIA program, for most people don't know, is the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Agency that insures about 270 towns throughout Massachusetts. And they provide coverage in both health insurance, property, life, casualty, and workers' comp. And they insure the town of Foxborough in all those areas. They continue to be one of the most competitive programs in the state, and offer probably the best kind of coverage for municipalities anywhere you'll find anywhere. So it's great to see that they're able to continue to do that, and that they're doing well financially, which is also a big plus for us to hear that on this end. The next thing is I did take a couple days off, did extend my long weekend, which was good to see my family over the weekend. It was actually a great weekend to do that. I did attend the golf tournament over the weekend on Sunday. That was actually another great success for the region.
Glad to see they have a sponsor going.
They do have a sponsor for next year as well. I guess EMC is going to step up and sponsor for next year. Deutsche Bank is done with its sponsorship, but it's going to remain here in the region in Norton next year. In addition to that, Governor Baker was here on Tuesday morning for the Tri-Town region, and I was able to attend a meet with the governor on economic development issues and how he spoke. He saw the film, he was very much impressed by that. Thought that the region did a great job on that. And then he spoke on a number of different fronts, indicating that took made a lot of points about the new Municipal Reform Act that has just passed the House and the legislature, and that he signed into law just a few weeks ago. So it's great to see how he's able to gain the support of both houses and to get stuff done of that significance. That had not been, the municipal laws have not been updated since in over 50 years. And this was the most significant one that had been done in that time frame. So congratulations to him and the legislature on that effort. On a more local front, we're looking to try and there is a party planned for Chief O'Leary, in case I'll let Mary Beth speak about those specifics, and also a swearing-in ceremony that we're planning for new Chief Baker, which will be just before Chief O'Leary's retirement party as well. So those are things we're working on right now. September is here. Schools are open. Great to see everybody opened pretty much without incident. So I'm glad to see that, and just wish everybody a very happy and healthy, good year in school. It's great to see. I got delayed getting into work this morning with all the moms jumping on the bus to take pictures of their kids on the cell phones. So they were on the bus for the first time, but that was great to see that. So yeah, I think it's moving along. Everything's moving along quite nicely at this point. Mary Beth.
Few announcements on the police front. The department has planned its retirement party you should be getting an invitation, October 20th at Lakeview Pavilion at 6 p.m. And tickets are available through the police department, where I think Marcia's going to work on maybe reserving a table. If anyone's interested, we can have a table.
There are tables of 12, so
what night is that?
It's a Thursday night. So mark your calendars for that. We're looking at, it's probably going to get finalized tomorrow, but we're looking at October 6th, which is also a Thursday at noontime, doing an official swearing in for the new police chief. Obviously, he'll be sworn in when he takes over for Ed, but this will be the ceremonial one where there'll be local chiefs invited, members of the board, members of the community, whoever's in, he wants his family there. So we're meeting with him tomorrow. We'll be finalizing those details.
Have we finalized his contract with him?
I'm actually meeting with him tomorrow on that.
Yeah,
so I have a draft for him. So
we have a late afternoon meeting with him tomorrow to iron out all the details.
Mary Beth, would that be at Town Hall?
Nope. We expect like about 100 people to that, so we're looking for a venue right now.
Oh,
We were
okay.
hoping to do it in the high school auditorium, but school's in session.
Yeah.
So
we may have to do it.
We may do it
in
at
a
one of the
local hotel or
get a room or something.
Because it's the
We're
middle of the
looking
day,
at an
with plenty
outdoor.
of parking.
What about Meditate?
Yep, we're looking for,
They have
yeah,
a beautiful
we're looking at a couple of things like that,
Hmm.
yeah. So
Have it
we'll be
right
able
in
to
front of the
finalize.
building. We had
We're hoping to do an outdoor
The ceremony
thing.
there with 1,500 people there when we dedicated the memorial.
Yeah,
so
we're
they'll
hoping to do
hold it.
maybe just something outdoors, you know,
We can.
if we can do that. So we're gonna work that out tomorrow, and
And
I'll
then it's a
get back to you
reception
on it.
afterwards that we'd like to do too, if we could,
Yeah.
so.
We also, this week, for police, to keep things moving, we issued an RFP for an assessment center for 2 sergeants. We have 2 openings. One was vacant, and then another was caused by the promotion of Rich Noonan to lieutenant. So we've met very amicably with the police union to discuss how they would like to work a promotion. And we're doing it through civil service approval. We're doing a soul assessment center for the position of sergeant. We expect probably 12 to 14 people will participate. So it'll be a 2-day event so that the whole department's not empty one day. We're gonna do like 7 on one day, 7 on the other.
So it's only open to internal?
You have to have 1 year.
Yes, only internal candidates.
People who have 1 year of experience as an officer in the department will be eligible under civil service rules. Yep, and it's an internal promotion. So that's what's going on. We expect to get the RFPs back by September 21st. Last week, I apologize for not being at the special meeting, but I attended a professional development SHRM program. That's the Society of Human Resource Management. I hold 2 HR certifications, and this gives me my CEUs for the year to attend one of these conferences. It was incredible. It was public and private people from all over the country. There were 1,500 people there, and it was a great opportunity to bring back a lot of best practices here in both, you know, all the different disciplines of HR. So I'm excited that I had that opportunity and grateful. And then next week, next meeting, if you're ready for a challenge, we may roll out board docs for you to try. So we'll run a parallel paper and
So get ready.
online training. The laptops are available, are here now. We're ready to roll it out to you so you can have kind of a trial. So if you think you're ready for it next week, next meeting, we'll do it then.
Yeah.
We'll run it parallel with the regular process, obviously.
So just along the lines of new technology, we have a new phone system at Town Hall, which, by the way, we will take with us to the new building. So I didn't want anybody to get nervous over the fact that we just bought a new phone system for an old building. This is completely portable, so we will take it with us. But it's a voice over IP system, so I'm still learning. So if you don't get me, you call me on my cell phone. You know how to reach me.
Yeah,
But
we
actually,
missed the training.
So we're going to try and get some more training. And obviously, a lot of people were out last week because of the week it was. So we're going to get more training involved. But it was a good week to do it because there wasn't a lot of business going on because a lot of people were away. So it was a good way to transition into the new system. Well, one other thing I just want to mention too, because I know the board had asked for further updates on this. The traffic counters are going in on we're going to try and get them in on Mechanic Street this week. We wanted to kind of wait till this week because school's back in session, and also, you know, you'll see large crowds going into the YMCA as well. So we'll get a good read on where we are with that right now. So by waiting to get past the summer, we'll get a really good reading on that. So those are going to be going in, I think, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
And one more thing, Bill, just in going through, what's the story with that City of Los Angeles?
City of Los Angeles. Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm glad you raised it. So what this is that the City of Los Angeles has reached out to the town of Foxborough to. It's more of a craft reach out, but it's really their venue. So it's. But I think what the City of Los Angeles did was reach out to us to see if we would support this, and as a town, because I think that's government to government, that type of thing. City of Los Angeles is vying for the 2024 Olympics. When Boston bowed out, they jumped into the running. So what they need is a venue for the 2024 Olympics, which for soccer, they're looking to hold some of the qualifying rounds at different venues around the country, and they've asked Foxborough for consideration for submitting a proposal for that. So I have talked to the craft representatives. They're looking at it. I think they have an interest in it, but I think what they'd just like to do is to get a flavor from the town as to whether or not we would support this. We've had World Cup events here before. We've held other very significant soccer events. We just had the Copa tournament here this past summer. So it really wouldn't be that different. I think there's always the nervousness that when Olympics roll around that there is some sort of a government local impact. I mean, that was one of the things that was talked about in Boston, how much of an impact that would be. But this is really limited to an existing venue. So I can't see that they would have to, of course, pay for all the supporting details and things of that nature that would go with that. But I think having an Olympic event in the community, to me, is actually, again, consistent with what we're trying to do, is establish ourselves as a world-class venue in many ways. So I think it's really kind of a nice opportunity for the town and for the craft group in that regard.
But this is not obligating the town in any way to pay for anything.
Correct.
Just
Yeah, that's
to
right.
let people know
They're
that.
asking if we have an interest in it, and we would not actually submit the proposal. I believe it would be, but I think what was made very clear to me was that this is the preliminary rounds. We want to get something in to say that we're interested, and then we're on the radar screen for that consideration. There are additional steps along the way that if something goes awry along the way, we still have the ability to step out of it. But at this point, it makes no sense not to support it, from what I can see.
I like the fact that even at the end, they wrote the letter for you.
Yeah.
That all you have to do is sign.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you see that?
Nicely
in the last
done.
two pages?
Yeah, nicely done.
All those in favor?
There you go. So that's it. But I'm glad. I appreciate you raising that. Thank you. 'Cause I meant to do that as part of my report.
Okay. Action items?
Action items. Now, do I have to read the whole thing here, or just approve to relocate the pole on Elm Street?
Say, short version.
Move to approve to relocate the pole on Elm Street.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to approve a petition for manhole and duct locations as well as pole relocations at 48 South Street and 1 Liberty Place.
For the board's edification, we did actually hold hearings on this today, and nobody showed up. So just so you know that.
A second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing
This
none?
is totally to do with the new town hall.
New town hall, right.
Well, Liberty Road is going to be non-existent, so
Right.
you
Yeah.
can't have private lines on a site.
Right.
Motion made, seconded. Had discussion. All those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $265, $25 in memory of Shirley Emery, and $240 from the Friends of Foxborough Seniors for programs from Mr. and Mrs. Donald Chin of Brighton.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $50 for the Lockbox Safety Program from Anonymous.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $50 to the Animal Control in memory of Shirley Bliss Emery from Lee McCarthy.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $25 to the Animal Control in memory of Shirley Bliss Emery from Christine and Gary Fossey.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $25 to Animal Control in memory of Shirley Bliss Emery from Dixie and Donald Chin.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to approve a one-day beer and wine license for Foxborough Realty Associates on 9/22/16 from 4:25 PM to 8:25 PM in Lot 4A.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
So do we want to approve these various minutes, or do we want to postpone?
We should postpone it.
Okay. Next, move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $105 to the Council on Aging in memory of Shirley Emery, Evelyn Fortier, and Carmelita Ward from Jocelyn Tripp.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $500 to the Council of Aging from the Friends of Foxborough Seniors for payment of programs at the Senior Center.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $30 to the Boyden Library from Nathan Horowitz from General Gift Fund.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $5 to the Veteran Services from Anonymous.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $35 to Veteran Services in memory of Nancy Paquin from LA and GF Keller.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $50 to Veteran Services in memory of Nancy Paquin from Thomas and Margaret Lambert.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $50 to Veteran Services in memory of Nancy Paquin from Anthony and Joyce Cavosa.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $25 to Veteran Services in memory of Nancy Paquin from Robert and Joan Manning.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $25 to Veteran Services in memory of Nancy Paquin from Ronald and Joan Haley.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $100 to Veteran Services in memory of James Driscoll Jr. from Timothy Petrica.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Move to accept a gift donation in the amount of $25 to Veteran Services in memory of James Driscoll Jr. from Barry and Joanne St. George.
Second.
Motion made. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion to close the meeting? Oh, whoa.
Oh, come on, Darryl.
Don't worry, I'll be fast. Actually, so the first question is for you. Just to be clear, the things that you'd be talking about, the November 28th fall public meeting, they might include the sewer expansion, if it, as well as to be determined, as well as possibly that liquor license to be determined.
Yes.
As well as other, in terms of the other significant stuff, like said, like housekeeping items.
Zoning articles.
Housekeeping,
A few housekeeping articles and zoning articles.
So a few housekeeping and zoning articles. Excellent. And the other thing is that in terms of those node licenses getting up and at 'em, you were saying that it's at the moment you don't have a date, but it's probably more a matter of days, not weeks, that they'll be ready?
That's what I've been informed. Right?
That's what you've been informed of. That's where it was from Representative Barrow's office?
Yes.
Excellent. Very good. All right, that's it.
Okay. Thanks, Barrett.
Move to close the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.